Topping Talks. 105 hours a week, can't be beat. Welcome to Topping Talks. Topping Talks is a Topping Tribune production, and today's episode is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies and ExpressVPN. Topping Talks is also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all of your favorite platforms. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, are you part of the 3.6% of Americans who still care about your privacy? If you are, then perfect. ExpressVPN can assist. Even though 96% of stats are made up on the spot, ExpressVPN does give a 100% guarantee via the 30-day backbone guarantee. Now, without further ado, today I'm proud to say I'm interviewing Jordan Agee, who is the founder of SupercarsinDallas. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a little while. Winding back the clock a couple years. How do you first get started?
Yeah, so basically I'm on the operations side of most things, and I got started at my dad's steel company. I ran that for 14 years, and we were structural engineers, basically. Built a bunch of commercial buildings, industrial buildings, and government buildings.
Oh, wow.
Detailed them to a 16th of an inch on our software program in the computer.
Oh, really?
And then turned that into part drawings and field drawings to actually build the buildings. Worked on some cool stuff. Windstar Casino was one of ours.
Really?
Yeah, so if you've ever lost money there, it's partially my fault.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yeah, not too bad.
So as a COO, what do you do at the company there?
So basically, I was VP of Ops at that one, and I trained the teams, built the programs, the interoperability between the departments. I made sure everything worked the way it's supposed to, and client relations as well.
There you go.
Those kind of things. And it really showed me how the kind of pieces go together whenever you're doing business. It's just a conversation, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Business is just a conversation.
Mm.
You basically want to listen and you want to come to a conclusion. That's it.
Yeah.
Service, product, whatever. It's all the same thing. But anyway, jump from there, went to, I launched my own companies. We'll get into those in a little bit. And then eventually became the chief operating officer of a CBD producer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a lab.
And then what's CBD for the 12 people who don't know about it yet?
CBD is an oil that comes out of the hemp plant.
Which is legal.
Totally legal, yep. And it has a lot of health products around it and everything. It does a ton of benefits. There are something like, I think, 10,300 different permutations of the chemicals that come from the plant.
Oh, wow.
And they're still identifying them. At least at the time I left the industry, they were still identifying them. And they do different things, you know. It depends on what you want. We approached everything. We were a wholesaler, retailer, and online store as well as manufacturer.
Oh, wow.
And we approached everything CBD as a service. So what kind of, thing is ailing you and how can we support it through this plant? So that was pretty cool. We got to build a lot of relationships at the retail front. That was a lot of fun. And then
what was it like with the lab? Because I know you see those stores everywhere in terms of kind of an endpoint purchasing point, but a lot of them don't have all those in them.
It's really cool to actually be able to. I actually produced this right back here,
right.
And so you can't take them to it, but it did have a window that you could look through. So sometimes if they wanted to see like the gummies being made or whatever, we would take a wholesale client around the corner and just be like, and this is the lab. It was a full, clean room.
Oh, really?
Gloves, the white coats, everything. Like it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's so you have to absolutely control the purity of everything. Obviously it's a rather regulated substance, all of it that comes out of that plant.
Is it regulated by the percentage of pureness, or in what way is it regulated in Texas?
Some chemicals are illegal federally, and some chemicals are not. Texas just adopted the 2018 Farm Bill, so that was the federal farm bill that they passed. So you're allowed to do substrates from the plant. It just can't be Delta 9 THC, unless, which is the regular THC from the other plant, that is hemp. It's just the only difference between marijuana and hemp is basically the legal concentration of Delta 9 THC.
Really?
And that's the chemical that gets you high. And so basically, if the plant has been engineered to not produce an awful lot of D9, then it's hemp. If it's been engineered to just be normal, then it's marijuana.
Really?
And that's the only difference legally. They're the exact same plant. So when you get Delta 8, Delta 10, 11, whatever they're calling it, it's just a permutation of it. And if you want to get real nerdy, it specifically has to do with like the hydrogen bonding on the molecules.
Really?
And when you say Delta 8, you're talking about the eighth, bond is what's affecting your brain
versus
the ninth.
Yeah.
And that's it. So basically, the plant is hyped up to be a lot more than it really is, but it does have real benefits. So we would blend it with, occasionally we would do different mushrooms like chaga and lion's mane, stuff like that, for different like.
And that shows how much I know. Are those legal in Texas?
Yeah, they're not like psychedelic mushrooms.
Okay,
in the way that you're thinking.
Okay,
but they do have an effect. You have them in supplements all the time. Lion's mane is basically considered nature's Adderall.
Really?
So it's a calming kind of focusing thing.
Pretty cool.
Chaga will be like an energy drink, kind of. And they have different effects. Each person's a little bit different.
Of course.
But generally, they move a certain way.
That's pretty cool. I had no idea they actually have like a caffeine. It's not caffeine, but it's a caffeinated effect.
Kind of. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
It doesn't have the same drawbacks. And we would blend it with things like ashwagandha, which is a root from, I believe, Africa, that basically can create, different effects within the body and stuff, mostly calming, mostly helping with sleep, stress, stuff like that.
Right.
People have nightmares with melatonin, so we used valerian root instead, which is basically, it gives you kind of a equanimity through your sleep to where it's all calm and easy instead of, spikes or nightmares or any of that stuff.
What was it like sourcing all those different materials? And are there international rules and regulations and importation fees?
So most of the add-ins are fine. They're already completely controlled. And so if they're available, the company that is offering them has already gone through any testing or any rules.
Oh, great.
And so chain of custody is with them anyway, if anything's wrong. So basically, super easy.
Okay. They're already imported.
You find what you need.
Yeah.
You take recipes that you've read about, that research papers have come out on. You test them out. You have like your actual team tests them, and they come back with their report of, this is pretty good. You have a focus group of customers that have opted in to like try new products, and then they'll come back and tell you. There was one lady we had, she was like 76 years old, a lot of like joint problems.
Yeah.
So we ended up giving her some CBD, and what it does specifically is it hijacks these little transmitters in your brain. They sort of carry information from the nerve when it fires.
Yeah.
They're the messenger for that. And basically what this does is it stops the messenger so you don't feel the pain, so the body doesn't have an inflammation response.
Really?
Yeah. And so it would actually cause real positive change in people.
Yeah.
Just because it's changing your body's response to certain things.
So it would actually decrease inflammation as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not just blocking the signal, it's also doing a couple other things.
Yeah,
that's pretty fascinating.
Tons of things that it can do. Yeah, it's an incredible plant. It really is.
Oh my gosh.
There are entire cultures back in the day that like worship the plant. I mean, it's pretty nuts. It started in China, actually, is where the plant came from originally. And then it just diffused everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty crazy.
I wonder if we'll ever see mass adoption in terms of like traditional pharmaceutical companies. I've heard them investing in the category in the past, but we haven't seen like a mass like corporate investment from a traditional standpoint.
There was some big money running toward it, but the legal environment just does not make that viable.
Yeah. Not yet.
Not yet.
Of course, that's kind of the cliche. Like many business things, you just need one piece of legislation, creates a whole new product category overnight.
Exactly.
So I remember even Coca-Cola was starting to invest in like cannabis-infused drinks a couple of years ago. So I mean,
wish I had that contract.
Right?
I didn't know about that one. There are a lot of drinks though. My first experience with that plant altogether was in Aspen.
Really?
Yeah, I was not expecting to get high, but basically, one of the people we were with, she mixed up we both were the first people that had woken up that day, and she mixed up a cocktail and was all like, "Hey, maybe 6:30 in the morning, but it's party time. We're in Aspen." And I was like, "All right, whatever. I've never been here. Let's have some fun." So she mixed up this drink. It was a mixer, a base. Didn't know that it was a THC base, but it was, and put vodka in it. And so my first experience was a glass of vodka and 100 milligrams of D9-THC, which is a lot. That's equivalent to roughly 10 of the normal gummies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so I had that, and I was like, "What did you put in that drink? This is weird." And because I felt giggly and sort of didn't want to move. Yeah. And then I got hungry. Now it was in the morning. So, hadn't had breakfast, but definitely got the munchies. Oh, yeah. And it was just crazy. All of a sudden, my eyes are bloodshot. I'm giggling at everything. We watched Pokemon, and it was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was ridiculous. And I realized that what I knew about the plant was not, actually real. Yeah. I had bad info. So yeah, that was kind of what drew me into that. And when I left the steel world, I decided I wanted to launch my own company for CBD and hemp products. And so I used the company I eventually ended up running. I used them as my supplier. And
very cool.
If you're going to launch this kind of company, pay attention, read the rules, be better than I was. Yeah. I did not read all the rules about marketing and social media.
Yeah.
And PayPal was what I had built into the site for payments.
Yeah.
They dropped me once they realized it was selling a controlled substance.
But isn't it?
In some markets, if you're on the internet, you're in all markets.
But doing it, couldn't you just put, maybe I'm speculating, could you put a disclaimer saying we'll not ship to XYZ?
Yeah, there's all kinds of different disclaimers you
then
could
it'd be
put.
okay?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah, there are rules that you can follow. I did not look those up.
Yeah.
So I've spent I was just out of a divorce, and basically I didn't have much money left.
Yeah.
The money that I did have, I put into the company.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, I'm in this huge hole.
Oh, shit.
My company is shut down everywhere. I can't do transactions.
So what, if you don't mind me asking, what shut it down? Was it PayPal? Or
Yeah, they actually banned me for life. I still can't go to PayPal.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, just because you were selling CBD oils?
Yeah. I was marketing Delta 8 at the time, which was not part of some states.
So were you marketing on like Facebook or Instagram or?
I did all of that and
Like,
got banned from those as well. Yep.
How did PayPal find out?
I don't know.
When,
I don't know. Maybe the bank, because the banks have this thing where they actually will label
categories?
Yeah, and so sometimes they would put it in controlled
substances. If you don't mind me asking, who do you use or did you use for a bank?
I was using PNC Bank at the time, but it wasn't PNC that did it. It was a chase hit from one of the customers. Yeah. And then they sent back basically a complaint or whatever they do.
Really?
I don't know. I'm not on that side of the business, but whatever they do, yeah.
Well, one of my friends, I interviewed someone who actually started an ammunition company, and it's one of those unwritten rules where, like, after you hit a certain amount of revenue, if you're using allegedly not allegedly, they happened to this guy. Yeah. But like once they hit a certain revenue with Chase, Chase said, "Hey, we appreciate your business. Like, we're just after this date, we appreciate you go somewhere else." Like, so they didn't cancel them like immediately. Like, said you cannot transact anymore. But they just said, like, hey, here's the path.
That was kind of them.
I mean, yeah, it could have been worse is what I'm trying to say. But, like, yeah, there's a lot of financial institutions where, they worked with Epstein for a couple of years. But nevertheless,
let's not go there.
But, like, they don't like guns there. So, like, it's fascinating that, again, there's also banks that don't like things that, again, are illegal on a state level. Right. And even federally, CBD is okay, right?
So with that 2018 Farm Bill, it says some products from the hemp plant are okay.
Yeah.
It does not, there's no language that I've ever read that blanket says this is good, this is not good. And that's kind of the problem. So it's a states' rights issue. Yeah. And at the federal level, they said, we say it's okay. Y'all have to decide. Oh, and they actually don't even, there's not a requirement to update the rules and tell everybody who operates under, we have in Texas on the consumable hemp program, we actually have a license that you have to get. Yeah. And you re-up every year. Okay. And so basically they keep a registry of all the people doing it. Yeah. They don't actually have to send any information to that registry when they change something. So you could just be selling a certain product that you've just invested $1 million into on Tuesday. Yeah. And on Wednesday it becomes illegal and you have to pull it from the shelves and you just lost that $1 million. Oh, jeez. So the CBD business is terrifying when it comes to risk and security.
Well, it sounds like you need a lot of cash to invest because it could change so quickly.
Exactly. And you need reliable transportation. You need a huge legal team. And we had one of the best lawyers in the nation. They're actually the one who helped write the Farm Bill.
Really?
So we had a really good legal team. But beyond that, what else can you do?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so that was a tough business. It was interesting, and I learned an awful lot really quickly about, rules and regulations I never thought I'd have to even look into. Yeah. We had regular audits where they would just come in and be like, hey, we want to see your inventory room.
Really? From the state comptroller or state
from
entities?
The consumable hemp program, which belongs to the Secretary of State.
So is it the state police or is it like a state auditor or like what is it like?
It's an audit.
Where does it fall to?
It's under the Secretary of State. It's the department there.
Okay.
Consumable hemp program.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So they would actually come in and they would look at your inventory room. Everything had to be labeled perfectly. Like everything had to be right. And then there are these certificates like that kind of tell you what's in it. And so you have to have your contents certificates up to date, certified for every single product in your store.
And that goes on the product as well. Is it similar to like a nutrition label? Rudimentarily speaking?
Yeah. It tells you the exact percentage of every single component in it from the hemp plant.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. It's a certificate of, I wish I could remember.
Oh, no worries.
A certificate of something. But basically, it tells you absolutely everything there. It's a good thing I'm not the COO anymore. I don't even know what those are called. Okay. But no, basically, you had to have those for the batch that you were actually selling. Yeah. And sometimes those labs could charge quite a bit for those. I think.
So are labs charging for a certification or they're charging for that information?
For the test.
Oh,
so
really?
You actually send off a sample of your product to go get its papers, basically. And then those papers go to that batch. And you have to do it with each one. So that's an added cost that you don't know,
So
for example, when you start
What's
a
that?
company.
If you don't mind me asking, just ballparking, how big was an average batch, and what would the average fine for the lab processing fee or certification fee be?
So you could just you could send them like 6 out of a 10 pack or something like that.
Yeah.
But you'd need to do like 2 or 3 of those if you wanted to be fully covered, because you do want accurate numbers that no one can take. Because the problem is, there were people that would take a product that had been tested and had papers, and then they would test it from a different lab and come up with different numbers. And now you're in breach because the numbers don't match.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, there's
More stress.
ton. Yeah, there's just a ton of pitfalls in that industry. You've got to be very careful and absolutely on top of it. So being the manufacturer, you're asking long way around your question.
Yeah.
Basically, what that gave us the advantage to do is we controlled our entire process. And so we had a lab partner that every time we'd make something, we'd send it off. They take care of it. It was pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and that streamlined a bunch of stuff. We had, because we sent them so much business, we had a special price.
Oh, yeah.
So everything was very, very good. Those things could run up to $750 sometimes, $1,150 per batch.
Jeez.
And we had ours down to like $250. So
wow. What, and how much, in terms of quantity, like, could one batch cover your not rent for like a week, but like, could one batch?
It depends on how much you make. So it's not really built on the actual product run. So you don't have to do like 20% of all that you've made.
Okay.
It's literally, if it's sold in a 10 pack, you can do like 4 of those.
Is it per formula? So like if I come up with like this new CBD formula, I send that to the lab. I
wish.
Okay, it's not
Because
per
our
formula.
formula's never changed after we built a good product.
So when you say per batch, is it?
It's literally that
every
product
time.
run. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So I mean, that's a huge cost for your inventories, and that's why the pricing's so high. Because like a street product would not need a certificate.
Yeah.
But obviously, lab creation does, especially if you're going to sell it legally under a government-funded program.
And I'm guessing if the Texas comptroller finds you out of compliance, then you get some additional fines or even shut down?
Yeah, you could get fines, or they could actually shut down your license,
Oh, wow.
And if you don't have the license and you're still selling it, well, now you
go to jail.
Really crossed the line.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So.
And then in terms of, if you don't mind me asking, in terms of fiscally speaking, because I know on a federal level, like marijuana is still illegal. So like the states where they do allow it and they do the transactions in cash, they have to pay the IRS in cash because no banks on a federal level, the bigger banks won't touch it.
Right.
This does not fall into that category though?
Well, you have to find, we used credit unions a lot.
Really?
Because they didn't have policies against it.
Because again, this is hemp. So
and
technically
hemp is totally legal. It should be totally fine.
And it's legal in all 50 states.
Because it's such a close thing. Like I said, the plants are literally identical. The difference is one chemical's concentration.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real difference between them. There are other differences, but that's the 90% difference. And so basically, you would go to a credit union and say, "Hey, will you let us sell drugs?"
Yeah.
And one time, I literally had a Kroger sack with $32,000 in it cash from one of our stores. And basically, I went to a credit union with a bag of cash, dropped it on a banker's desk, and was all like, they were all like, "What is this cash from?" And I was like, "Selling drugs." I mean, it's totally ridiculous. The industry's insane.
What's the best response you got back?
Well, they knew it was us, so they just laughed. But
they didn't say you got extra for me or something like that?
No, they were never.
No,
they're
that's
very
humor.
professional in the banking world. Yeah.
So did any
banks
say no, or what was it like finding those credit unions?
So basically, you couldn't even take checks from like wholesalers if it was like a Chase wholesaler. They would have to use a different account to purchase the goods.
Really?
Yeah. So at the bank level, what you're actually spending your own money, they get to decide whether or not you can do it, which I thought was a little bit of overreach, but that's the industry and that's the way it was.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy.
Really? I can't imagine the stress of navigating all those different variables all at once.
See, that's where I get excited.
Yeah?
That's precisely why I love operations.
Kind of like cat and mouse.
The more variables, the more I'm in. I get locked in on it. I love it because I see it just like math, just like music, just like language. Oh, yeah. It's all the same thing to me. It's a bunch of variables. You organize them to try and get a product.
Oh, yeah.
And it gets me extremely excited. I can nerd out over that for all the time. I love that.
That and firearms are probably two of the most regulated, topsy-turvy things in terms of trying to do it right.
Yeah.
Especially, I know guys who import things for firearms. It's like, the licensing and all that stuff is like an orchestration in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like it's fascinating too.
And from an operational standpoint, I mean, you could have an entire division dedicated strictly to making sure your papers are right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But we didn't.
Yeah.
We kept it pretty small. We had a small team, but it was it was about a $3.5 million a year.
That's incredibly great.
Not too bad. Yeah.
I was going to say, the Texas comptroller must love you. That's a lot of tax revenue made, too.
Yeah, because you pay the sales and use tax, you pay the retail store, and then wholesale's a little different, internet's a little different. They tax them all differently.
Oh, yeah, because did you have to work? Oh, man. Do you have to deal with the stress of the tax permits in all the 50 states?
Only the ones that we actually had
Sold to.
transactions in.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So that wasn't too bad. But
Yeah, it's still not fun doing that every
None
month.
of it was fun.
It's like, oh man,
none of it was fun.
it's like on those websites are usually rudimentary to say the
Right.
least. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah, it's
dude,
old 98 HTML.
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
They-
what? This is the government?
be like, let me get the calculator out. This county got to break it down to this. Oh, this goes to the DART transit team. Okay, money there. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
a
we
lot-
didn't have ChatGPT yet.
Oh, jeez. So you
Just
had
be like, hey, fix this. And
Right?
you'd be like, boom, fixed. I love that program. That thing's pretty good. It's going to take over and kill us all.
quite
but before
literally,
it does.
quite literally $1 billion idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a great nonprofit. Elon invested in it. And now it's really, 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 really profitable.
Absolutely.
Microsoft owned 50 or 49%. I
I
forget.
don't know on that. Not
A
sure on
lot.
that. Enough.
Yeah, or not enough. They would say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
More of it.
It was a heck of a thing when I first experienced that.
Yeah, it's
Because I would talk to like my phone and be like, hey, crappy built-in assistant.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be all like, I don't know, I'd
What did you
search
say?
this can and it'd be all like, in 1936 when the car was, you're like, what? I was talking about a can.
yeah,
And then you go to OpenAI's product and it's just,
revolutionary.
I mean, it knows everything. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it can give you bad information. I play around with it a lot to see if I can break it.
Yeah.
And it does give you bad info if you set it up to give you bad info. You can tell it what you want it to tell you.
Really?
So you have to be careful with that. You can't be all like, I thought it was this. Am I right? Sometimes it'll be like, you could be right if this. And then if you really push on it, it'll be like, all right, you're right.
Really?
So you do have to be careful. But
Yeah.
well, that was 3.5.
What's
I
done
think they're
now?
on 4 now, so I'm not sure. They may have fixed it
Or destroyed it?
or destroyed it.
You think Apple will adopt it?
I don't know, man.
That's a rumor they're going to build it.
Well, they just announced, that they're doing a partnership.
Oh, I thought it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's called Apple Intelligence, and it's going to be across all platforms that they have. And
Great.
it's actually now going to transcribe every single thing it hears you say,
Oh, lovely.
like phone calls and such like that. And then you can,
Same with Microsoft.
I saw that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
they're going to record every screenshot. It's not just
That's crazy. Yeah, they're actually screen recording the entire time.
In
And
a-
who's to say that they don't already on your phone?
In other words, sales of Linux are up through the roof.
Possibly for the 8 people that still use that.
16 now.
Indeed,
But-
they've doubled.
Yeah, Microsoft try to backpedal a little bit. It's like
It's pretty invasive, man.
it's literally the most invasive thing on the planet. Like it was for a fraction of a second. I'm like, you know what? Might pony up the money and get an Apple product, but now
Not
it's like,
anymore.
no, we should.
And
start
honestly, with the power of ChatGPT, what I've seen so far and its
yeah.
capabilities, like I said, it does have limitations, but
Yeah.
just on the surface, what it's able to do,
Oh, yeah.
if it can bridge, because again, language, this goes right back to it. Language is just variables organized to
yeah.
create a result. And if that result is a message or a thought or an idea, then you can easily take language and know what the idea is. And that's
Yeah.
all it's designed to do is model language.
Oh, yeah.
And so language is programming, it's coding, it's, like I said, math, it's
Yeah.
it's all of it. And so eventually, I mean, it could even be pixelation of images because, again, that's just coding, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
eventually it's videos, it's pictures, it's everything. And so if they're recording all information on everyone's individual phones, that'll be the biggest, what do they call it? They call it training data for OpenAI. And so basically you'll have the entire world's actual training data for the modern world, I guess, on the phone.
Yeah.
Whether they're scrolling, whether they're texting, whether they're calling, and it's all transcribed. So now you have the biggest language model ever. It's everybody.
It's gonna be insane.
Every conversation, this conversation would
Yeah.
actually be transcribed. And so all of this, I could give it bad info right now and it would log that. You know what I mean? If they use it, obviously.
I forgot to put the aluminum foil on the phones. They, can listen, they could be listening right now. Oh, no, they
Yeah,
are
that is a
listening.
little tinfoil hat. But I mean, imagine what they could do with it.
Oh yeah.
If I was a sinister government
Oh yeah.
trying to do something like that, this is the biggest Christmas gift I've ever had.
Well, ChatGPT, they just hired, was it the former head of the NSA?
Did they?
Yeah, who?
It's not surprising.
Well, he didn't. It's illegal for him to spy on Americans, so he paid contractors from Great Britain, and then they did the spying, which then made it legal.
Standard operating procedure, my man.
Yeah. So let's just say the Amish are looking pretty smart these days. I'm like, you know what? They still have privacy somehow. Well, no.
You're talking about their
satellites.
intimate details, are you sure?
That's true. I don't know. But yeah, that'll be. What do you think? What were, kind of ADHD comment. What are your thoughts on Grok? Have you tried that out yet? The AI for X Twitter.
I haven't even heard about that one. Didn't know what it was.
They're not good at marketing, apparently.
Clearly.
I
also don't spend much time on this. I basically, a guy showed me ChatGPT and I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. I downloaded it. That's it. Yeah.
I played it around with it a couple times for like posting for job postings and
okay.
write me a description for cybersecurity engineer, and it
knows exactly
it
what
did
it
a lot better than me. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that much.
yeah.
Like It's incredible.
It's pretty good as a business tool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I write a lot of documents in my current job, and
Yeah.
basically all my frameworks are built off of that.
Oh, yeah.
We even started a handful of books, and it gave me the outlines and chapter
perfect.
topics and all that.
It'll be interesting to see if which industries start to regulate it further. Because I know from
Right.
like the legal industry, it's already been tried to be used in court. A couple of lawyers used ChatGPT and they had printed out the stuff, and they went to the judge and said, "Hey, this is our idea, this stuff." And judge, saw some awkward wording and stuff because it was more rudimentary at the time, a couple years ago. He goes, "Did you write this?" And the lawyer had to go, under oath, "No." He goes, "Where did you get
Is
this?"
that against the rules, though?
Yeah, that's
Does a lawyer have to write it?
exactly. That should have
You know
asked
what I mean?
that.
Yeah.
But apparently, so legally right now, from what I understand, is it can't be used in the law area yet, which is crazy considering the volume of
It's
paperwork
probably
they
good, though,
have.
given that it will give you bad info if you tell it to.
Yeah, that's true.
You do need some type of human arbiter of truth, I think.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Just like on drones in the military. There's got to be a guy pushing the button. As soon as they're able to think, we probably have an issue. I've seen Terminator.
You say that, but a couple years ago, they already have rudimentary AI with Lockheed Martin drones. Where, they could take out a target without human intervention already.
Oh, yeah, I know they can.
So it's like
we just, have that little safety switch on. And sure, they're
Yeah.
going to flip it and kill us all one day. But before they do that,
Or if the robots just disconnect that one button, so that we
Yeah.
think the button works because it's lit up. But when you press it, nothing happens. Like,
Totally
oh
could be.
no.
totally
Have you seen
could be.
Yeah, they have the drone it's packed with explosive that will take targets out.
Yeah, they're using them actually in the war in Europe, right?
Yeah, it's quite horrifying.
Yeah.
Makes me think I need to invest in EMP devices, but I partially digress.
I mean, it might be a good investment,
Shoot, anything defense is these days.
Yeah.
That tech, that just moves quicker and quicker and quicker.
Can't even hide underground anymore.
No.
Bunker busters.
Oh, yeah? Well, you can't even hide in a house. Even this, my podcasting editing PC has one of those, antennas for Wi-Fi, external antennas plugged into it. And they
I
literally
guess,
have technology where, I forget, was it a student at MIT or a professor? Someone came out with the software. So just by using your computer's Wi-Fi antenna, they know how many people are in the room.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How does that work? Are they detecting just the
Scans.
the way the field is moving, going around?
Apparently they
individuals?
could, apparently you could, and again, it's all rudimentary to me, but it's apparently you can just detect the bodies in there, or the human bodies.
That is.
Well, they
pretty
already
awesome.
have one that could detect through walls with sonar. Yeah, it's quite concerning.
The world is
Fascinating.
advancing rapidly.
Well,
But hey, at least we have a new episode of The Acolyte.
that's true. That's
Keep everyone looking
I might invest
on
in
the TV.
I should invest in Disney. They have nowhere to go but up. How can they make things worse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a big fan of what they've done with my favorite franchise of all time.
No, and even Mark Hamill, who's agrees with a lot of the structure of those, in terms of the themes and morals and stuff they're putting in Disney stuff these days. Even he's kind of roasting Kathleen Kennedy. A couple, was it 6 months ago? He was sitting at a table with Kathleen Kennedy with the press, and she asked Mark, "Hey, do you have anything to say?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I had lines now. I didn't know I had lines."
Oh wow!
Because what was it? What was the one Mark Hamill came back for?
Yeah,
The movie, but he only had one line.
Yeah.
Wait, in one movie he had no lines, right? He just turned.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, he hasn't been good since Corvette Summer, which is a great movie, not just about Corvettes, but also the summer.
I never saw that one.
That was where Mark Hamill peaked.
I liked him as the Joker on the animated Batman series.
That's
He's the
true.
voice there.
When I was a kid, that was great. A lot of people don't realize
yeah.
he did that.
Yeah.
Good voice actor.
He's a hell of a voice actor.
Very interesting post on the X Twitter, too. He's very, very busy. I swear he gets paid per post, but nevertheless.
As he should. He's a celebrity.
Yeah.
If he's got the following, hell
no,
yeah,
he
I'd
does.
monetize it.
That's true. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It'd be one of the easiest jobs of all time. You have a following, you just
Oh, yeah,
say
that's true.
things.
That's very true. And people buy it
Yeah.
somehow or some reason.
You should launch a podcast.
I should.
Oh, wait.
Wait a minute. Sponsored by Topping Technologies.
There you go.
But yeah, even as a kid, I was always fascinated with celebrity endorsements. I'm I don't know why. One I remembered was Ashton Kutcher was holding a Nikon camera for a commercial. I'm he's an actor, right?
Why does he like
Yeah. My
cameras?
parents oh, it's just a sponsorship. I'm but he's not a professional photographer. He stands in front of camera.
Why would you listen to that guy?
Yeah. It's well, I guess he's an Iowan. That's kind of cool. But I had a Hawkeye for one semester. But I never really, to me, I never really got endorsements unless they did that for their profession.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what would make sense.
yeah, but a lot of people still buy it.
That's
but
true. The cult of celebrity is powerful.
That's true. They're fancy. They're from Hollywood. They must be right.
They're so fancy.
They do. They care.
Oh, yeah.
I'm told. They tweeted
Obviously.
it. Yeah.
I read that somewhere.
That's true. It's on the internet and they don't lie there.
I've never seen one.
Yeah.
And internet. Just kidding.
That's true.
Yeah.
So where do you go after the CBD company?
So after CBD, basically took a little bit of time off and then hopped into roofing.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the inspiration for that?
So the guy that I looked up to the most, kind of as my mentor, he has an incredible roofing company that he has set up and everything. And he needed help doing the production side of roofing, which is like the ordering the materials, getting them installed, the logistics of all that. That's called production and roofing. And he needed a national level guy to kind of run that.
Yeah.
He had just been bought by Stronghouse Solutions, which is the largest residential re-roofing platform in the world.
Oh, wow.
Per insurance volume.
There you go.
There you go. And basically, with the expansion, we're now in 6 states, and someone had to kind of tie that together using the existing systems and, wrap them up because each state has its own legal environment for roofing as well.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like Florida, for example, is a nightmare to work in.
Why? Or how so?
They have an intense permitting process. You have to sign a notice of commencement before you sign a contract. It has to be registered by the county and then resubmitted to the city.
What?
And notarized. Everything's notarized in Florida. Don't
Wait,
get me
so
started there.
what's the difference between those two documents?
A notice of commencement says, I have talked to this company about changing my roof.
Okay.
A contract says this company's changing my roof.
Okay.
So the government needs the notice of commencement.
On your private owned house?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just like an HOA thing. It's okay.
Oh, and those are a thing too.
Oh, additional.
Yeah, HOAs also have their own forms most of the time.
Oh, jeez.
They control the shingle color and stuff. So you do have to
comply with that.
Comply with those. Yeah. So there's levels of regulation.
Oh my
sometimes
gosh.
at the HOA level, sometimes at a municipal, sometimes at a county.
So
whatever it is.
It says, how many pieces of paper do you need signed in Florida?
So the worst one I ever did was in a place called Pembroke Pines, and I've made 37 documents for that one.
For one house?
To get the permit.
building?
To get the permit for the house. Yeah. And then once we get the permit, then we actually have to do the work of getting the materials, getting them shipped there, getting a dumpster on site. They have certain rules about dumpsters as well.
30. Wait. 30 what? You said 37 or how many documents?
Yeah, 37.
37 for
37.
a roof. Is it, if you don't mind me asking, is this a commercial building or residential?
Residential. Yeah. Just a guy's house. He just wanted his roof done because he's got a leak in his roof.
Jeez.
Yeah. I started it in October, and I was even dealing with it last week.
What?
Yep.
Jeez Louise, that sounds like...
Now, they rejected a few documents because, let's say, I don't know, one detail was different than what they wanted, or my favorite part was we were waiting on several to be accepted by the department.
Would this be the...
That's just the city of Pembroke Pines.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and this is just their local regulations. It's not across Florida for this one. But they basically changed their forms, and just like the CBD thing, they didn't tell anybody.
Oh, jeez.
And so while we've been waiting all these months and weeks to get them to actually advance this thing forward and just get us a freaking permit, all we want to do is get this man a roof.
Yeah.
Basically, they updated their affidavit, their notice of commencement, their application. We had basically 7 of the documents get updated. And so they finally had them filled out the way they wanted, got them notarized. The homeowner has to sign them. We have to sign them. Okay. That's the hard part because you have to get it notarized. So the homeowner has to be with you, with the notary, when you're signing it. So, I mean, it's a total pain to actually get it done.
Do you get, is it maybe a silly business, or an interesting business idea? Is there a mobile notarizer? Because like
there are mobile
for my company,
notaries.
I usually just do, go to a local bank or something like that.
Right. But you'd have to go with the homeowner.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a service that'll come right to you.
There is, yeah. And
that's
we've
good.
actually gotten a lot of our guys to become notaries.
Excellent. There
And
you go.
so, we'll send 2 of our guys, and one of them notarizes the other one.
Native witness.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So we'll just have 2 of our guys go over there and get it fixed, and that's been our solution. But still, it's a ridiculous process.
I mean,
and that's just to even apply.
What?
They could still reject it or say they need a new submission, or
what's the most unusual? Do they give reasoning or?
Yeah, they will. If it's usually just the paper wasn't filled correctly.
Okay.
But like if
is it maybe it's a question? Is it physical paper or is it online format or?
Well, that totally changes based on where you are. Like we are in 147 jurisdictions within the U.S. At least we were. I'm no longer in the production department. I'm now on the ops team for Stronghouse, the holding company. But basically, while I was still there, when I left, there were 147 jurisdictions, and each one had its own process, its own set of paper.
Oh my god,
yeah, it's insane the amount of stuff.
On average, how many pieces of paper need to be signed to have a roof replaced?
The really easy ones are in Texas. You don't need anything. You high five them, change the roof. Yeah, it's Texas. I mean,
amen.
Best in the world. Best state best country in America.
Yeah.
But basically, Florida is a nightmare because of their paper.
That's
So
hilariously ironic because my perception of Florida is more business friendly on average. Yeah.
their regulation environment is absolutely not friendly.
Now, is it just because more often than not the insurance companies are paying for it?
I think in construction in particular, it's because of the hurricanes, because they are in such a dangerous area for construction. So there are specific materials that you have to register. This is the other hard part.
Really?
If you're going to put, like, GAF is a manufacturer of shingles.
Okay.
There's a very common laminate shingle called the Timberline. If you're going to use a GAF HDZ Timberline, you have to have the product approval form that was accepted by the Florida Building Code.
Okay.
Certified by an architect or engineer, stamped. You have to have its entire documentation of all of its ratings, wind rating, fire rating, strength rating, all that different stuff, impact resistance rating. And it has to be the current one with a set of installation instructions. And that is for that shingle. Then you have to do the same thing for the underlayment, which is the piece underneath.
Maybe it's a question. So does that shingle company, could they just do it once, or this every time you install a roof?
It's the same document.
But do you have to submit it, or is that the shingle manufacturer who submits it to the state?
So they're the ones who get it certified.
Okay.
And then they put it on the Florida Building Code website, and when you have to download it and send it in every time you use that material.
What?
And so it never changes.
Okay.
But you will fail your application and sometimes have to redo all the paperwork if you don't have your product approvals.
Really?
Yes.
And do you have to buy from a particular distributor, or it can be whatever?
You don't have to, it's just the product itself is what's regulated. So whoever sells it, you're fine.
It's not like
some of these you can go buy at Home Depot.
Okay, so because I know, like, with alcohol, like for tech, obviously alcohol is regulated, but like I know in Texas you have to buy from certain distributors, and it has to have the tax stamp and that kind of stuff.
It's not that far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh my gosh.
I bet they would, though, if they could. I went to war with a place, Pasco County. Went to war with those guys because they have, when you're doing your inspection, so you finally got your permit. Yeah. You got the roof done.
Yeah.
Now it's time to do final inspections. They don't go to the property. You have to do a virtual inspection.
What?
And so they need a handful of photos.
Okay.
And so it'll be like 20 photos, maybe 10, 15, 20 photos showing specific measurements of certain nailing patterns on around the edge of your roof. You have drip edge, which is a little metal angle shape. And it has to be nailed at 4 inches on center. Okay. And so you have to show 25% of the drip edge being nailed in at 4 inches on center with a measuring tape. Per the installation instructions, you have to show 6 inch on center for the shingle or for the underlayment, 6 nails per shingle for certain shingles, those kind of things. If you don't have those pictures, you now have to contract an engineer to go and certify that the roof was built to the Florida Building Code standards, which can cost you around $1,000 if they have to do a field trip.
Oh my gosh!
If they can do it through those virtual pictures that the county would not take, but the engineer would, it was only like $650.
So why would the county not take the he would? Would he literally just take a highlighter or like use software to highlight those parts?
They need 20 to 25% of the roof. If you had 15% of the roof showing 4-inch nailing, an engineer is going to say, you wouldn't change your method. Logically, why would you change your method? And if you've done it on 3 slopes of a 4-slope roof, it is reasonable to assume that the 4th slope was that way. And so they'll sign off on it. But the county's rule says 20 to 25. So if you don't show all 4 sides, with a certain amount, then you didn't do enough to satisfy the requirement. They reject it. And the roof's already on, so you can't just go take new pictures unless you want to tear the roof off and redo it. But then you'd have to order the shingles, and then you'd have to get the crew and the dumpster and everything else. And not to mention the disruption in service to the customer.
Maybe a silly idea or a silly thought, but does anyone currently have methodology where you just take a 360, like a drone shot or a drone video of the whole thing, through every step of the process?
You could do that, but you have to have the tape on it. If it doesn't show 4 inches on center, they don't know that it's 4 inches. And so you just have drip edge that's clearly nailed at a pattern, but you don't have the spacing.
There's no software that can just add those measurements in post? Because if you know the measurements of the roof, you could extrapolate that. No?
And if there is, it's not at market yet. At least I'm not aware of it.
You should start that. Because again, I'm not sure about the cost of data of,
you
4K
would have to get so close to it in order to show the nail pattern and actually measure it. Because they do have measurement tools for the actual buildings. Really cool tech that actually uses, they fly over and they scan everything at an exact altitude. Yeah. And then it does calculations on, the rakes and the eaves and everything else. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty neat.
But they can't do it for nailing patterns because you would have to get off the roof completely after you've nailed in the drip edge. You'd have to do each layer of the roof completely.
Jeez. And
then you'd have to scan it. And it'd have to be really close. And the way that roof construction works is basically you build the roof as you go up. So you'd have to change that to a layer and a layer and a layer and a layer, and they're not going to do that.
So right now through that construction process, you just take like every step you take, you just take pictures and you do more pictures, or do another step and pictures.
Pretty much.
And then you have someone checking those pictures to make sure the nails are proper. And
No, they actually finish the roof.
What?
Like your crew should be trained because they don't have time to do that. You know what I mean? Like they'll get there at 6 a.m.
What's the average cycle? Or
our guys are really fast. We have really good crews all throughout our markets, and so our guys can put a roof on. If they start at 6, they'll be done by noon.
Really?
Yeah, they're really fast.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. But I mean, it's a rinse repeat. Once you've done it, you've done it.
Yeah.
Because the rules don't change, regardless of the fact you have to submit paperwork. Because if they do every time, the rules don't change.
Because a roof is a roof. Okay.
Roof is a roof.
Okay. It's just
and well, Florida's building code uses, I think, the 2018 International Building Code, which basically said 4 inches on center for drip edge. Drip edge is required. 6 inches for underlayment.
Is that
kind of thing.
In terms of those types of building stipulations, is that pretty similar across all 50 states?
Yeah, it's just whether they're using like the 15, 18, or 21 building codes. And then they can adopt any policy they'd like, of course.
Yeah.
So you do have to get in and actually like have a call with them. It's not usually their websites, like you said, are terrible.
Yeah.
And so you can't really just go in there and find what you're looking for. So you have to give them a call. And so 40-minute hold times while you're trying to get in with the city.
I've been there.
Yeah. It's a disaster. The logistics side of the dealing with permitting and such. And it's enough that it's a full-time job for almost every roofing company.
I believe it.
In Texas, you don't have to have a license to be a roofer either. So there's over 7,000 roofing companies, and a lot of them don't even pull permits. And so
7,000 companies in Texas?
Yeah.
It's
a lot.
I know. Well,
now,
I know.
Texas is huge, obviously.
Well, of course.
And there's obviously a ton of roofs. But
I know every time there's a hailstorm, I get 5 people knock on my door, and I feel bad. I'm like, I don't own this place. I just rent. I mean, we don't.
I'm going to go ahead and plug. Say yes to Linear Roofing.
Oh yeah, I'll go for it.
Linear Roofing and General Contractors.
There we go. Heck yeah! Shout out. We'll put the URL in there too.
Awesome. That'll work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's us, and we are very, very good. Our motto is we are not the same.
Yeah.
And we genuinely we're not. So.
What's the most unusual project you guys have had in terms of?
We've done some fun things. Basically, I had one guy, that poor guy. We've been trying to get his claim done forever. I think since September, August.
Oh my gosh.
It's been going back and forth with the insurance company. He has a unique situation where it's owned partially by banks, partially by his own. I guess he has a piece of it, and the bank has a piece of it.
Yeah.
There's 2 different insurance companies. One said that they would pay for wind damage. One said they'd pay for hail damage. They both deny that the other type of damage happened.
What?
So you have competing insurance adjusters from different authorized companies saying different things are happening. So he's got a really unique situation. He also had a lightning strike or moisture get into his wall in his garage, and it started a fire, which burned up 2 what they call squares of the shingles, which is a 10 by 10 section. So basically, he has a super unique 3 disaster event situation where 2 insurance companies are competing on saying, yes, it did happen, no, it didn't happen, and kind of countering each other out.
Oh, gosh.
Also, he's had like 5 tornadoes since then because he lives in Little Elm.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, good times.
I know about that. It's about this area.
Yeah.
That's not
far.
good.
That's far. This poor guy. But we are getting close. We have to, at that point, when you can't get the insurance company to accept liability, you have to get a public adjuster involved. And you're not allowed to speak as a public adjuster. So you can't, as a roofer, you're not allowed to interpret policy. So while you're trying to help the homeowner on a phone call, for example, with their insurance company saying, hey, here's what we found, you can't say they have to cover it because this, that, and the other.
You can just say we found X,
You can
Y,
say
Z.
we found this. Typically, this could happen. We have seen this happen. In some policies, those kind of things. You're not allowed to act as a public adjuster because then they can come back at you and be like, you are practicing without a license. And then you get in trouble. So there's all these little considerations in roofing. It's not just, I'm going to put some shingles on like everybody thinks. And as the operator in a department that's running all that stuff, you get to really get deep into the variables and the nuance on that. So it was very fulfilling work while I was doing it. It was exciting. And it was so time consuming and so much that finding out the most efficient way to organize it, that's where I got excited.
And streamlining those, streamlining those processes.
And then not only that, but teaching people how to do it and creating documents that are resource libraries that they can go to where they could pick that up and do it themselves.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. We built a good training program. We've got a great team running it now.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then Stronghouse itself is expanding. We... I don't know if I can say numbers, but we're a very large company now, and we have a ambitious budget for this year,
There you go.
and it looks like we're going to hit it. So
excellent.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
There you go.
Very, very good stuff.
And
So that's how I got into roofing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
A lot of people don't realize how astronomically large that industry is.
Oh, it's massive. It's massive. I think it's a $90 billion industry altogether across the entire U.S.
Oh my gosh.
And this is just on the storm side, I believe.
Really?
So like when you're doing insurance payments.
Yeah.
Because there's two types largely of jobs. You've got the insurance jobs, and then you've got retail jobs, which are just cash.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to go the PA route, the public adjuster route, which will take 10% of whatever the insurance pays out, roughly.
Oh, wow.
They take 10 to 20, depending on the firm and what they agree to and how hard their job is. Because it is difficult. They don't have it easy either. They have to convince an insurance company to spend money.
Oh, wow.
And that's their job. They're kind of the adjudicator between the roofing claim and the insurance company.
All right.
Where was I going with that?
No. What about Autix?
Oh, yeah. Let's switch. Let's go to Autix. All right. So Autix basically is an AI startup that my buddy Jake started. It's really cool. It's in the collector car space. So basically, I'm a car guy.
Right.
That's how we met. And that's, cars is my main thing. It doesn't pay the same way that like roofing does, for example.
Right.
But it is, where I built my network. It's where all my friends are. It's my hobby thing that I turned into a company.
Yeah.
So I met Jake. I own an exotic car club called SupercarsinDallas. And basically through that, I met Jake. And Jake he's a Jeep enthusiast who spent like 80 grand on this custom Jeep that has tons of stuff on it.
Yeah.
And he asked his dealer, he was like, hey, so what else on my Jeep? I just spent 80 grand. Like, what's on it? Yeah, I'm all excited. I drove it. It's awesome. What else on it? And they were like, what? And he was like, no, I just gave you like 80 grand. What's on the car? And they had no idea. So he had to go to a shop and get it torn down basically and look at everything, which is insane. Because
the dealership couldn't tell them what's on it?
How does the dealership not know? Exactly. But the owner who traded it in or whatever didn't know either. And this was actually a dealership that specializes in Jeeps. Like that's what they do is offer Jeeps. So they should be able to look at it, you'd think.
Yeah.
They were not able to. So he had to go to a shop, tear it down, get a look at it and everything. And he was trying to find an online resource to where he could log the actual parts and what they are. Yeah. And nothing existed really. I mean, he had an Excel sheet, but...
Yeah. Excel. Yeah.
Come on. So he was like, this is insane. He went to Jeep forums. What do you guys use? What are you talking about? Yeah. And so he's like, this is insane. We're going to build the solution for this. And so he basically created Autix, which is a artificial intelligence platform that's kind of using sort of like ChatGPT. It's sort of like a language model, but it's building part values and the actual asset value of the vehicle itself so that when you build a project, you have the real value of your vehicle. So it's a curated value metric for your specific build. You log the parts, you log who did it, you log the shop, the warranties, everything. And it actually takes, we went to SEMA in 2022 and 2023. Yeah. And it actually takes all of the part data from the entire libraries that were put there from every company, basically that went there. We got all their product names and UPCs and all that stuff. And so you can scan this thing in and all your parts and put it in there and say it's on like, a Jeep. Yeah. And it'll basically build that value metric for your specific vehicle. And so we've moved to the collector car market largely. And we've hosted, different events out in Florida, Scottsdale, Vegas, where basically they bring in their custom cars and we're able to build that value metric for a car that, an insurance company would have to, well, let's look at it. And they'd have to come out and try and adjust it or something and come up with it. Well, now we have an actual AI-powered internet-seeking and company registry-filled, solution for that. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's. I really believe in what he's doing. It's fantastic. I'm on the vendor side, so I, through my car club, I know a bunch of companies and a bunch of owners, and so I bring the owners into the platform, kind of show them how to set up a garage, show them exactly what you can do with it and how powerful it is as a tool. And then basically bring the companies in that want to go ahead and list their parts or whatever. And then eventually we could do a community there where it's a social side. We could do event hosting. We could do a marketplace. I'm really excited about the marketplace. I think that's where a lot of opportunity as a business it really sits.
Do you think you would be selling like custom parts or upgrades to the vehicles? Or what kind of marketplace do you think?
Probably both of those. Probably the parts and then also the people who want to move their vehicle after they've built their dream project and they think it's pristine and ready to go. You have the entire history of it. You have who built it. You have every part. Cool. You have its actual value. And you can put that right to market. And so I think that's fantastic.
Because a lot of those websites where you just post like, auction sites and it's like, well, you have to make a model, but
Right.
what's an appropriate way, or how can you really effectively
pop
all the
the hood.
upgrades? Yeah,
you know, pop the hood. This is a digital pop the hood.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool. There's nothing like that exists that we're aware of. And so we're the first ones in this space. We partnered with a ton of really good companies that have helped us come to market. And he won the Capital One Incubator
That's pretty cool.
Award. He won...
What's the route to revenue? Does each person who uses it, do they pay a fee, or
I think they're still
do they get
finalizing exactly how it's going to come through. I'm not in those conversations. I'm just on the get people to see what it is kind of side.
Because it seems like there'd be opportunities for insurance adjusters. Like
exactly.
there's a lot of people that data could help them. That's
Absolutely.
pretty neat.
Yeah, on the collision side, on the insurance side, on the collector side, on the dealer side, on the individual user side.
Because how many average insurance companies? Like, how many of them really know all the nuances of all the custom parts out there?
None of them, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's say a guy wants to get a policy to value his home, and he's got 7 cars in there that are all custom projects. You know, how do you value that correctly?
It's true.
No idea. So even on your regular policies, you could get that, not just in the case of a loss. But yeah, it's pretty sick. And that's just on the insurance side.
Yeah.
I mean, on the enthusiast side, if you are like building the hype of something, like let's say it's a celebrity-owned car.
Yeah.
We're friends with Richard Rollins from Gas Monkey.
Yeah.
And so he can build some incredibly cool cars.
What was your favorite ADHD question?
Honestly, I'm a big fan of that Mustang he gave away not long ago.
Oh, the Shelby. Yeah.
Yeah. I loved
it.
that thing. That was awesome.
That and the black Ferrari F40.
Yeah.
I know that build was a long time ago.
His personal 599 was really cool.
Oh,
Big
really?
fan of that car. Yeah. It sounded fantastic.
I can't imagine.
Really good car. He just, I believe it's him. We just had one of the first Daytona SP3s. It's a very special one-off Ferrari that's like $2.5 million.
Oh, wow.
I believe it was his that we were looking at. But basically at one of the meets recently, an insurance company, actually, I'll plug him, Coverica Insurance,
That's cool.
Josh.
Great car show, too.
Yeah. So at that event, blue SP3 came out, and I believe that was Richard's car.
Really?
I never heard who actually owned that one, but rumor had it, it was Richard's car.
Yeah.
But if that's his car, then that's clearly my favorite of his cars. That thing was immaculate. It's got a really awesome blue interior. And that's, for me, I'm a conservative guy who likes, 7 Series BMWs, Maybach S-Class, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Aston Martin, probably my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a DB9 for a little while. It was a very good car.
That's nice. One of the few car companies dedicated to the V12.
Yeah.
There's so few left.
I know.
And a stick shift.
It's a sad thing. This one was not a stick shift. It was DB9. They stopped making the manuals before my car was produced. Wow. But it was a really good car. I did not have it long because I'm an idiot, and I put it into a wall.
Oh, no.
But I didn't respect it. Didn't think it was very fast.
Yeah.
450 horsepower was not a lot based on the cars I'd driven.
Yeah.
And so I was very cocky and stupid when I was 29.
Oh,
I wanted to have a DB9 before I was 30. So at 29, I was like, all right, time to buy one.
There you
Went
go.
out and bought one. And I didn't have it but like a month. But anyway, it was a great car for that 1 month. I put like 3,000 miles on it that month. I was never out of it. I drove it constantly. I loved that car. Did road trips on the weekend. Like, it was great.
That's awesome.
Loved it. And it never, as much as sputtered, the thing was perfect.
Really?
And I beat on that poor car. I beat on all my cars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love a GT car. But anyway, that SP3 had a blue, like, Alcantara interior.
Mm. That's pretty nice.
Very nice. I like it. Good job, Richard, if that was yours. Nice.
Do you get to see the Pagani?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice purple he chose.
I love that car.
That looks
really cool what he did with the little details on the inside with the white leather.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good guy, too.
I forget what we call them, the wheel covers. Not covers, but they have the additional air deflectors on the rims. And they actually had those matching purple, too.
Oh, nice. I did not pay that close attention.
I drilled over that for a little bit.
It was the SP3 that really stole me.
Yeah?
Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was just like, nope, that's the one I'm looking at.
I like it.
I was only there for like 15 minutes, so I
really?
I had to get to. But yeah.
Yeah, there's some cool.
But it's a beautiful car. I did see some pictures afterwards from some of the photographers around here.
I mean, it's literally like a picture of perfection when you see those.
Yeah.
I think they do have a stick shift option.
Like a work of art.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how that works. It looks like they have a manual, but I don't know. I remember
if it's a true one or not.
I think Koenigsegg did a thing on the CC 8 homage, whatever that was called. Their most recent like special edition that they made. I think it was an actual manual that you could also drive automatic, which is weird. I don't know how they did that. Hey man, Christian von Koenigsegg's a genius.
Oh, of course.
Whatever he does probably works.
Oh no, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean he made a 1-speed manual transmission kind of thing, like mechanical transmission, not like an electric car. But the free valve thing you did was insane. Like the guy's nuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know. To me, a manual will always have 3 pedals and a clutch, and you could stall
There's
it.
nothing quite like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I know it's not.
It's a measure of a man.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'll beat the comments. I'm like I know it's not as fast as a magical Tesla, computer on wheels.
That's true.
But when you're going on a track, dropping a gear and going around a corner, can't beat that feeling.
Yeah.
Like
now there's the only cars that have really excited me that are not manual that truly just put me right in the driver's seat. The first one, it's a transmission everybody hates, but I love it. It was the SMG3 from the BMW M6 with the V10. It's my favorite car I've ever owned.
Really?
I put 100,000 miles on that thing. I beat the crap out of it every day, and it came back with a smile every single time. It is such a robust transmission. The pump does break.
Yeah.
But know that. Save a couple grand for that. There's 2 issues with the engine. You need about 10 grand total to take care of both issues.
Yeah.
So when you buy the car, they're cheap as hell now. They're like $25,000, $30,000.
What's the list price when they came out?
They were 114, I think, was the top out. Yeah, 105, 114, something like that. But the last models are the 2009, 2010. They have all the upgrades, everything perfect from the factory. And honestly, 08 and up is a magnificent car.
Yeah.
But the major issues that plague that vehicle in lore come from the 06s, which are the first year. So avoid the 06, 07, get an 08 and up, and you'll be fine.
There you go.
Save 10 grand off to the side. You'll pay 30 grand for the car, a lot 40.
Yeah.
And then just buy the car because it'll be one of the most fun and engaging and ridiculous experiences you've ever had. It's a V10 that revs up to 8250.
Oh my God.
Naturally aspirated. Punches you in the back of the head every time you shift because it's intense.
Yeah.
Great car. And very comfortable. If you just leave it in auto, you do have to figure out kind of how to nuance the throttle a little bit because it is a robotized manual. So it is clunky, and certainly compared to the dual clutch transmissions from today, they're nuts. And that brings me to my next one. Porsche PDK is magical.
I know.
The 991 GT3 and the 992 GT3. Well, the 991 GT3 RS, so 991.2. 2018, I want to say. That was a tremendous car, and for a long time, it was the best car I'd ever driven.
Oh, yeah.
And I had driven, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, whatever. They just didn't speak to me the way that 991 did. Then I got into my buddy Warren's 992. He tossed me the keys one day.
Yeah.
Dude, what a car. And that was automatic. It was PDK as well, and it still was one of the most, if not the most, engaging driving experiences ever. It's easily the best car I've ever driven. Everything else can go home. I want a 992 in signal yellow. That's
a good color.
That's the one.
I like it.
And I have not driven the RS, so I imagine that just takes it to another level. But
they're insane. I got to drive the Cayman GT4 RS on the track a little while back.
Nice. I've not been in the Cayman GT program.
They're ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
It is, man. Just it turns exactly what you want. The input is perfect.
Right. That's what's great about the 992.
It's so much fun.
It's got that rear wheel steering.
Yeah.
And the way it goes around a corner. There was a corner in Mexico that had a 40 mile an hour speed limit.
Yeah.
At 95 miles an hour, the wheels did not even chirp.
Really?
The tires did not even chirp. Yeah, it was just beautifully locked in, just right around the corner, no big deal. Accelerated beautifully out of it, no big deal at all.
Yeah.
No drama, just point, shoot, execute. It was beautiful.
He makes some amazing
car.
stuff.
What a car. Man, that thing's magnificent.
If I win the lottery, I'd kind of be cliche. I'd love to get the Carrera GT, though.
Carrera GT is awesome.
Yeah.
918 is awesome. It's replacement. Yeah.
I don't know. I like
what? Shoots flames out the top of the car.
I like the analog. I like the V10 stick shift only. I mean,
that wood knob is really cool too.
Right?
Yeah. And the sound. I'm a V10 maniac because of that
sounds
M6.
Beautiful.
Sound is just magnificent.
It was a little disappointing though. I remember they had that weird thing, and granted, it's not a problem I have to worry about in the short term, obviously. But
you don't have 800 grand just laying around for the cheapest one on the market.
I thought the cheapest was 1.2.
Maybe it's been a while.
Well, you got to pay tax. You got to pay
level.
Extortion tax to register all that
There
crap
is that.
and all this. But nevertheless, you can't just do a clutch dump and do a burnout. You have to release the clutch, then let it go, and then you put gas into it for the Carrera GT. It's the weirdest startup of any manual.
Interesting.
It's you'll destroy the clutch if you just drive it like a regular one.
I'll destroy the clutch regardless, but
it's about 36 grand per clutch.
Jesus, that is pricey.
Because I'm pretty sure Porsche makes it themselves. And Porsche the only one.
Probably.
It's 35, 36 grand per clutch. It's jeez.
That is pricey.
Yeah, you're getting to McLaren. Oh, obviously it's not McLaren F1 territory, but it's some of those maintenance bills get up pretty quick.
Nuts. I think on the Bugatti Chiron, it was something like 28,000
Jeez.
for the oil change because you have to drop the engine or something like that. Something crazy. And then the tires themselves, each one was like they're individually made, those tire runs for the car.
Of course.
And so it's something stupid as well, like 25 grand or something for the tires. Like, and you'll burn up the tires pretty fast, obviously, with 15 to 1600 horsepower.
Most expensive burnout ever.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing burnouts in hypercars.
I mean, if you had that kind of money, I would. Like
even then,
just once, you got to do it.
I wouldn't do a burnout, though. I'd play with it, but I wouldn't do a burnout. I did get to ride in a Pure Sport.
Oh, really?
And we did hit it all the way. And what an experience, man. That redefined acceleration for me.
I'm sure.
I've been in 9M1 turbos that have been modified, Turbo S's, that had about 700 horsepower. And I think they came out 580 is out of the factory. So a significant increase. Oh, yeah. And the car already did 0 to 60 in like 2.6 seconds out of the factory. Yeah. So you add another, almost half horsepower on top of it, and you're in right at 2 seconds or so.
Oh, my God.
That car, I mean, it was so fast when I accelerated that pretty much my eyes wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I remember the guy tossed me the keys. I was like, you sure? Okay. So I went for a drive, and I was like, all right, let's get on it. And I floored it. And it was so fast. It's all-wheel drive, so it connects beautifully. Oh, yeah. But it was so fast that I literally couldn't see. Like it wasn't that my eyes were closed. It wasn't that I wasn't observing. It was that it was moving faster than my brain was able to populate what was going on. So it knocked my breath out because it was such a hardcore acceleration. And as I came to, I was just like, holy crap, that was awesome. And I did it again, and it happened again. And I was like, what? And I did it again, and it happened again. I mean, it was incredible. Yeah. The Bugatti makes the entire experience feel that way when you're in it.
Really?
Like when you're flooring it. Yeah.
Which one have you been in?
Pure Sport. Chiron Pure Sport.
Oh, Pure Sport. Yep. Oh, my gosh.
It was magnificent. And he didn't even go all the way. I did not drive that one. I just rode in that one. And he didn't even go all the way. And it was still, you hear the 4 turbos spinning up behind you. After he lets off, you hear like it just dumps all 4 of them. Like, unbelievable experience.
Sounds insanely
And
cool.
for me, I know the Koenigsegg might be faster in some raw acceleration. I know the Pagani's a piece of art.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
But there's no doubt I would take the Bugatti out of the 3.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt at all. It's just such a good comprehensive package compared to the other cars. I've been in Pagani's. I've been actually in the Agera RS.
Oh, really?
Set the world record for the Koenigsegg. I got to ride in that when it came through, and it's a tremendous car. But it's very much like a Corvette, actually. A very high-power Corvette. Like if you've been in a 1,000 horsepower Corvette or something, it's a lot like that. So it's violent. It's intense when you're going, or even a super done turbo Supra, or twin turbo Gallardo or something. It's a psychotic car that clearly accelerates hard, but there's not that cohesive greatness about it. When you get into the Pagani's, they're not engineered the same way that these hypercars are. It's obviously a very powerful, very expensive, beautiful place to be. Oh, yeah. But like Aston Martin, it's more about the style and the almost the vanity of it. Versus the driving experience. They do drive very electrically, like they're awesome. Yeah. But the Bugatti's the one. Oh, yeah. It's got it all. Well, and it feels like it's made by a giant manufacturer versus a boutique. Oh, yeah. And so you've got switchgear that works, but it's beautiful. Every crafted surface is perfect. The stitching is magnificent. Oh, yeah. And what's really cool in the Chiron in particular, I'm not sure if they did it in the Veyron, but in the Chiron, they've got this curved line that goes along the side there. And you see it when you look at that. But it's not just there. If you look at the windows, they actually take the exact same arc, and the exact same geometrical shape shows up in the windows. It shows up in the grille. It shows up at the wheels. It shows up on the lights. It shows up on the headlights. It shows up inside the car. The dead center of the car has this same shape through the middle.
That's pretty cool.
It shows up in the doors and the handles, like everywhere. There's this cohesive, and that extends to how they built the car. Oh, yeah. So it's not just the design language shows up everywhere. Every single piece of the car was thoroughly connected to itself. Oh, yeah. So there's not a moment in the car that's not perfect. I love those cars.
It's incredible.
They're fantastic. It's amazing. Oh, yeah. I think it's probably the pinnacle of, human engineering. It's probably the best. Well, the best we've ever done as far as cars.
When the Veyron came out, Volkswagen had the best of both worlds. They were able to engineer the fastest car on the planet with the Bugatti Veyron, and then I forget the specific Volkswagen name, but they made the Volkswagen so fuel efficient it got 350 miles per gallon.
Good Lord.
Which is insanely efficient. It's all
think
carbon
we
fiber.
saw 5 in the Chiron while we were going.
Oh, yeah. It's like, they're amazing. Do you ever hear the story about the tire contract?
I don't think so.
It's a great example of properly motivated people and engineers can do anything. So at the time, Volkswagen, they're making the Bugatti, coming out with the Veyron. Well, they want to hit over 200 miles an hour. How are they going to do this? Well, normal tires kind of just, blow up and they don't work. So they go to
That is a problem.
They go to Michelin and go, hey, we need to develop this. We're doing, low production. We're only gonna make a couple of Veyrons, but we can't hit it. The speed limits with the current tech, so we need new tires. And Michelin goes, we're probably gonna lose money on this. There's a lot of engineering. It's gonna be a small batch order, specialty. We can't do that. We're gonna pass. Mr. Peach goes, the CEO of Volkswagen goes, well, how about this? If you don't do this, we're going to pull your fleet contract. So every Volkswagen that we make right now, basically, we have the fleet contract, so they all come with Michelin tires. If you don't do this, that goes away. And all of a sudden, Michelin goes, okay, we're going to do this.
They're like, so that's tomorrow we start, right?
Exactly.
Nice.
And they had those engineers crunch the numbers. Yeah. They came up with the perfect composite materials where they were able to hit those record marks with the Veyron with those Michelin tires.
For 30 grand a set.
Precisely.
Or whatever, yeah.
And that's how you know someone, if they have real, like, astronomical amounts of wealth, if the rims are the same. Because the rims, I think, expire after 3 tire changes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Look at you. You're teaching me car stuff.
Oh, I'm like an encyclopedia. I'm great for, like, those bar nights, like, random business facts I'm full of. I don't know sports balls players except for, like, Tom Brady. I know that the Brady is special. He wins the Super Bowls, allegedly. Yeah.
But he was a great goalie.
Exactly.
Wait a second.
He threw the ball and someone caught it many times. I'm sure. I think. And the Cowboys won a Super Bowl sometime, and the Bears won a Super Bowl sometime.
Okay,
I think.
There you go. We should probably stop displaying that we don't know sports.
I know sports balls business stuff. I know the revenue and stuff.
There you go. Yeah, that's what matters. I did watch the show Ballers.
That's true.
No, that's a pretty good show.
Oh yeah. So kind of a cliche question. If you could have 2 cars, like one vintage and one modern, what would you choose?
It's my favorite.
And we'll throw in the caveat: free maintenance for life and free fuel for life and insurance.
That's useful.
Oh yeah,
I'll need that because the cars I'm about to pick are crazy. So my very favorite car of all time is the Lamborghini Miura.
Oh really?
It is the first mid-engine V12 supercar. Yeah. It is what invented exotic V12s. It is Genesis, and I've been in one. My buddy Stratton Hibbs brought one out from his collection and allowed me to ride with him.
Oh, really?
And we actually took off on it. And I think we saw 110 miles an hour or something while we were driving it.
What year model was that?
I want to say it's a
67? No.
I think it was a 66.
Yeah.
64, 66.
And what?
I'm not sure. I think it was 110 or something like that. It was crazy. He had
fun.
to. So the footwell was made for a tiny Italian man from the 60s. Yeah. So he had to take his shoes off in order to even use the pedals.
Really? Because it's so close together?
Yeah. Well, it's so small. It's actually narrow. You can't put your shoe against the pedal because the pedal's so small. Really? So you have to actually just do your foot, and you have to kind of push like that to do it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah. But basically, he got on it pretty good. And it's one of the press cars that they've used. It's that green Miura that's always pictured everywhere.
That's how every Lamborghini should be.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. But basically, it was tremendous. It actually was quick.
Yeah.
That thing had a 0 to 60 in the low 5s.
Back in the 60s? That's insane.
That's insane. Yeah.
That's really good.
And it was still good today. I mean, or not today, this was years ago. But
that's still respectable.
It was a really good experience. I expected worse.
Oh, yeah.
And while, I'm 5'11", so I'm not gigantic, but I was crunched up in the car, but I would absolutely do it anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, it's probably the Miura.
Those are beautiful.
The only other option might be an Aston Martin DB5 because of James Bond.
Of course.
But I've been in that car too, not while it was moving though, and it's just not as special a place to be.
Really?
And they came out about the same time, early 60s.
I mean, to me, that is the Bond car.
It's the Bond car.
It is.
It's the Bond car.
To me, I'm also biased. Like, Sean Connery is the Bond.
Yes.
Shaking not stirred.
Shaking not stirred.
Yeah. Junior. Oh, wait.
Junior.
Oh, wait. No, wait. That's the last.
You named the dog, Indy.
Oh,
there
precisely.
You go. I know what you're
Great
talking
movie.
about.
Yeah,
Heck
you know
buddy.
me. Heck yeah.
You're the man now, dog. Yeah. That's probably my favorite quote.
I
of
love
his.
that movie.
But no, basically, the Miura is probably the one because of that. But I'm going to go with James Bond for the modern car. I want the second generation Aston Martin DBS.
Ooh,
I adore that car so much. I think it has one of the best noises of all cars. I think it is beautiful on the inside when it's got the Alcantara. And I love the shifter, which Jeremy Clarkson referred to as a Power Rangers leg, which is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It's just a magnificent car. And I've driven 2 of them. And like I said, I have my DB9, and it was the plus version of my car.
Yeah.
So it was just the one that was unattainable. And to quote Clarkson again, he said basically you have to buy a DBS instead of a DB9 because when you pull up at a red light and one comes next to you, you'll have to kill yourself. And, I was depressed sometimes in my Aston Martin. I wasn't. But Now, the DBS was amazing. What
Yeah.
a car. And while it's not that dynamic to drive, 0 to 60 is like 4.2,
Yeah.
which is nothing today.
True.
It was a lot in 2007, 2009 when it was out. The thing is just immaculate, like on the inside. And they use this cool key that they call the emotional control unit.
Oh, yeah. The glass.
Yeah.
Or crystal.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Fancy.
crystal. But basically, you put it in the middle,
Yeah.
you push a little harder, and then it starts up the car, and you
Yeah.
get the best freaking startup noise
Oh,
ever on a car. I have videos of just the startup that I've saved from different cars I've seen.
Yeah.
And randomly, I just listen to that. Sometimes I listen to that before I go to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, I love
It's
that
beautiful.
car. I love that car. I love the noise. I love the way it drives. I love the materials, the smell,
Yeah.
everything about it. I think it's one of the most beautiful things ever crafted.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go with the DBS Gen 2 and a Miura.
Sounds like good picks to me.
Yeah, not too bad. 2 V12s. There you go.
Right?
I'm doing
That's-
it right.
It's rarer and rarer these days.
Yeah.
There's something special about that.
It's awesome.
I
love V12s.
I mean,
I love big engines in general.
The new,
V10s, V12s.
the new video of the newest Aston Martin V12 that they're coming out, it sounded like a symphony. Twin turbo V12 too.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
gonna
And
be
the
wild.
CEO just came out like saying how adamant they were about keeping the stick shift because
That'd be good.
they noticed
Someone has to.
their last send off of the super Aston
Right.
Martin, which looks like a piece of art with all the carbon
Yeah.
fiber, the
Oh, yeah.
shifter with the it looks perfect. And he said we had such strong demand, like we know people want big engines and stick shifts. We're gonna listen to the feedback.
Well, it's about time someone's listening to their customer base.
That'd be
My
nice.
big problem with
That'd
the
be
world
nice.
today is that
Yeah.
the businesses are catering to their decisions, the riders catering to their decisions.
Yep.
Everyone needs to listen to the customer base.
Yeah.
That's what decides the market. That's what does everything. The customer
That should.
is right.
Well,
That's the way it goes.
the government also shapes that too, though.
Well, yeah, but whoever's pulling the strings,
Oh yeah.
it's the people. We, the people, should always have the power in my
agree.
opinion, whether it's at the government level, whether it's at the customer level. My daily driver is a Volkswagen GTI.
Nice.
I've got the
Stick
whatever the
shift or
current
what
one is.
okay.
It's got their little DSG.
Okay. I
It's my day.
only judge you a little bit, but it's okay.
Basically, it tries to drive for me. It turns things on and off without me telling it to.
Yeah.
If you are in the paddles, and because I drive it almost exclusively in sport mode in the paddles.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think I've ever had it not in sport.
Well, of course.
But because it's not a very fast car, it does 0 to 60 in 5.1,
still
but
good.
it still gets like 30 mpg. So
pretty
that's a
damn good.
great
Heck
combo,
yeah.
and it
Yeah.
handles magnificently.
Oh yeah.
Like the steering on it is fantastic. It's honestly, it feels like Porsche made a hatchback.
Oh yeah.
That's what it feels like. And the shifting, I think it is derived from the PDK, which is very cool. But it basically tries to hit the brakes sometimes.
Oh, that's
I'll be
FBS.
driving. It'll see something that it thinks is an obstacle,
Yeah.
and it'll just stop my car while I'm in the middle of driving,
That's trash.
almost killing me. It beeps constantly. Electrical signals on it all the time. Everything's failing.
Jeez.
And it was my first new car I ever actually bought because I always go used because I don't like depreciation.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and decided, all right, fine, I'm going to get a brand new car. I like the new GTI. I like the little shifter it's got. I love the houndstooth seats or whatever they call that. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm in. So I went ahead and just bought a base model, little PDK looking thing.
There you go.
Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah.
And test drive was fantastic. I was like, yep, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And man, I will never buy another VW product unless it's a Bugatti
Really?
because
That
it is
bad?
crap, or maybe a Lambo, but
Yeah.
it is crap. Just the fact that it's breaking all the time. It's been in the shop. I've got 29,000 miles on it now. I've had it 2 years next month, and so I don't even drive it much for me.
Yeah.
Basically, I've had it in the shop 6 times. And
6?
Yeah, and it's had electrical issues where it won't turn on twice, and it's had this braking problem 2 times. And they fixed this one thing where it's got level 2 autonomy, I guess it is.
Yeah.
The one where it can scan the road and you can change lanes with your signal instead of steering.
Ugh.
It's got those kind of things,
Yeah.
which I didn't ask for. That's just built into the car.
Yeah.
Those things, its sensors are very sensitive, and they
course.
fail. And when those fail, they beep incessantly.
God.
And it was some type of short, so every little imperfection, it's not a particularly smooth car, and every little imperfection would make it move.
Yeah.
And so it was just boom, 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 boom while I'm driving, and you can't turn it off.
Can't pull a fuse?
You can't pull a fuse. You
Oh,
can't change the
Jesus.
volume. You can't do anything, man. You are just absolutely stuck by it. It was terrible.
That's
But,
insane.
yeah, so I'm not into the whole it tells me how to drive.
That's gonna
I'm
be a-
not into the whole
That's actually a law now, or it's going to be put into effect. I think it's 2026 or 2030 to have cars be able to remote shut off. And then to have them stop.
That's not cool.
To have your car stop at like if anything senses on the road, which is also dangerous if you go to the
It could
track.
be, yeah.
And then another
Oh
thing.
yeah, at the track it'd be.
Yeah, the first thing they tell you is disable all that stuff because it's dangerous as
It
hell
is.
because you're getting on
Well,
people's
it's unpredictable.
bumpers. Yeah.
It's unpredictable too,
Oh, yeah, it's terrible. It's
and
like,
certainly if it's not performing well,
you know,
like this
all-
VW system.
Oh, to me, all you need to do is just stop using your phone, and that pretty much fix nearly all of our problems when it comes to auto issues.
Likely.
Like,
I mean, people are horrendously bad drivers. And here in Texas, our population's doubled in DFW?
Oh, yeah.
Not quite, but we're at 8 million and we used to be at 6. That's a lot of people compacted in a small space.
True.
Traffic's gotten stupid. And, prices, of course, have shot through. But the drivers that have come in, I think, are worse than the drivers we had previously.
That's possible?
It is. And they're all bad. So, yeah. But on my next car, I'm going back.
Yeah.
Because I hate all this new tech that's trying to tell me what to do with my thing that I just spent thousands of dollars on.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm a Liberty guy all the way.
So what you thinking?
So I'm going back probably to a V10 M6 or an old school 7 Series.
That'd be nice.
Or maybe even a Z4 M Roadster or something like that, just for some fun.
Those are cool.
I do like those. They're fun.
Yeah.
And I had a Z4 once, and it too is not particularly quick compared to today's sports cars and all that. But I don't really care about that. I'm more wanting to connect. It's about the character.
Yeah.
I need the car to talk to me.
If you want the fastest car in the world, just get a robot on wheels.
I would take that too if I could.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? I like those too. I had a little BMW i3 for a little bit, and that was actually a fun car. It was cool.
Oh, yeah.
Bought it for my now ex-wife, and it was pretty good. I like that thing.
It's crazy how light those things are because that's
so
completely
light.
mono. Is it a monocoque carbon fiber?
Yeah,
it's all a singular
like
piece, right?
One block of.
How much did that
carbon.
cost BMW? Do they make money on that?
I
can't help.
can't imagine they did.
Because just to make the single monocoque, all that carbon fiber.
Yeah.
That's expensive.
And I bought it. Basically, my ex-wife had crashed a little Scion that she was driving, and I was looking for a replacement. And she worked from home. Wasn't really going to go far. If so, I had a couple other vehicles we could use.
So that makes sense to go with an
so
EV.
I was like, you know what? Let's try this whole electric thing. Let's see what this is all about. I know BMW makes one. I'm a BMW fanboy.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go find one. And so it was like $16,000. And it had like 20 miles on it.
That'd be
it was
used, right?
nothing. Yeah, it was used.
'Cause I thought those are, they're much
They
more
were like
expensive to
55, 60 when they were new.
use. That sounds right.
But they
that sounds
depreciate
familiar.
hugely. And so anyone looking for a car that the range was atrocious on it, it ended up only getting like 90 miles range when you drive it aggressively.
Oh, geez.
So it's not that kind of car.
Yeah.
But
if you're just getting groceries,
if you're
they're
just a
short.
grocery getter, it's like a golf cart with heated seats that is very comfortable, insulated, looks really cool.
Oh, yeah.
On the inside, it's kind of awkward looking on the outside, but
Yeah,
eventually you learn to love the charm.
A little boxy, but yeah.
Yeah, it's ugly, but it's ugly in a lovable way after you own one.
Yeah.
But the interior was really cool, and it had some cool features, and it made the little spaceship noise whenever you accelerate and all that fun stuff. It was cool. It had some gimmicks that gave it character, and it drove like a BMW. So like the steering was beautiful, the braking was awesome.
Really? That's pretty cool.
The regenerative braking's a little weird. When you let off is when it brakes.
Yeah, it feels weird.
But eventually you get to where you can judge a stop without ever touching the brake pedal.
Oh, yeah.
And so, that was fun in its own right. It's almost like
Game.
this is blasphemy and I'm going to lose my card. But basically, it was almost like when you have a manual, you've got your third pedal and you're modulating and playing with it, you would modulate the accelerator to go a certain distance and you could play a little game with yourself of can I stop exactly nose on the line, that kind of thing. It was fun.
Sir, I
enjoyed it.
Sir, you have to leave now.
Yep. But no, it was pretty fun. It was still modulating a pedal.
Oh, yeah.
Is the similarity I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was pretty cool. So I can get with some electric cars. I've driven some Teslas that kind of let me down, but in Musk we trust, so I'll forgive him. But is that controversial?
It is cool that it's bullet resistant for the Cybertruck.
Sometimes.
Well, it depends on the caliber, but yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah, I have seen some of those not work. But the Cybertruck's awesome to me. I think it's a ridiculous thing. And I like ridiculous.
I would love, if I had all the money in the world, I would get a Cybertruck because I love the body.
Yeah.
And I just put in like a drivetrain from a Toyota Tacoma.
Have you seen the...
It's the only stick shift you can get for a truck these
Really?
days. Oh, yeah, in North America.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Good job, Toyota.
All right?
Yeah.
The room, again, this is a rumor. We'll see if it's confirmed by the time this is published. But like, yeah, maybe you'll get the new 4Runner in a stick shift. Or is it the 4Runner or what was the newest SUV they just revamped?
I think, yeah, it's 4Runner.
Yeah. It's like they're one of the few companies dedicated. They got the GR86 in a stick shift.
Nice.
Of course,
Didn't
got
the son take over a couple of years ago and he was a big enthusiast?
Oh, he's grandson. Yeah.
Oh, the grandson.
So Mr. Toyota, was it 6 months stepped ago? No, probably a year ago, stepped down as CEO. So he's still the board of directors, the leader there.
Okay.
But yeah, the former CEO
I don't know
of
my Japanese
Lexus
companies very
became CEO.
Okay.
But yeah, he's a driving enthusiast. He is really into it. He's
read something
awesome.
about
And yeah, the stuff they do on Toyota is incredible.
I do like the Toyota products. Like I said, the Scions that we had were pretty cool.
Darn near bulletproof.
Yeah. Yeah. I beat the crap out of my poor ex-wife's cars.
They have that cool track experience too.
Yeah.
It's like if you buy a new Toyota GR edition,
cool.
They actually have a track experience. So you get to make a membership to NASA too.
Nice, man.
Not a paid endorsement yet. One of these days, I keep saying nice things about them, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the engineering put in those vehicles, like, and the Supers are controversial. It's like, it's a great BMW, but they did Give Toyota credit.
That's not a bad starting point. You know what I mean? And they are tuned so differently that they do feel like different vehicles.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
And Toyota actually paid and did the research, the cost to actually make it a stick shift. So that's pretty admirable too.
Yeah. And honestly, the Toyota's the better car out of the two.
Oh, yeah.
It feels better. It handles better. It's more communicative.
Oh, they're fun.
Neither one of them, honestly, scratched the itch for me.
Yeah.
But I like the looks of the Z4, and I like the driving style of the Supra.
They look,
they're not bad.
Oh, they're great. I've ridden it. I've had friends let me like ride in them at the track. They're pretty fun. I mean, they got a nice feel to it.
Yeah, it's not bad. The steering's where we could have some improvement, but for today's cars, it's pretty good.
Oh,
because today's cars are totally numb and terrible. And honestly, most BMWs today I'm not into, and that's my favorite car company.
Yeah, it's like they're all changing slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to get them revamp or an update one of these days.
We do. Someone needs to, just put their foot down and be like, look, I'm an enthusiast and I own or run this company. Yeah. We're going to make enthusiast cars. And we'll still scratch the itch and hit everybody's regulation itches. Yeah. So, like, if you've got certain MPG or certain emissions or whatever.
Well, that's why you almost need to have big car companies that can offset it. It's like Volkswagen Group, they can make Porsches because they can offset it with the EVs that they sell.
Right.
Which hit many of the government regulations for the fleet averages.
Right.
It's like, I'm not sure with the EPA, like in the US, at what point could a boutique car company exist? Because you need like a fleet average. Because I know there's a rule, there's like rules like if you only make 1 or 2 cars a year, you're not going to have much scrutinization. Right. Like at what point could you build, like today, hypothetically, like could you build like the next Lamborghini or the next Ferrari? Like, I'm not sure if that'd be possible. Well, you also need, of course, billions of dollars. Like,
well, there's that.
there's that small detail as well.
Tiny little barrier to entry.
Might help. Yeah.
But with Cadillac going all electric, maybe Chevy can do its performance side and they can continue the manual because they honestly have pretty good manuals. I like the C6, Z06. That was a good one.
Chevrolet has no manuals.
Okay, but
these
know
days.
what I mean.
Yeah.
But they could, and like the 2018 ZL1 1LE.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was a magnificent effort.
Rest in peace, Camaro.
What a car. And that thing had a great manual transmission. It had a rev match if you wanted it, but you could turn it off. Oh, yeah. That was a really good car. One of the best American cars I've driven. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Now it'll be an EV 2-door SUV.
Probably. Have they already confirmed that?
Heavily rumored still. But like
heartbreaking.
So Mary Barras, the CEO, she's still adamant about, even though they're scaling back production of EVs like everyone, they still want Cadillac to be full EV by 2030, and a full fleet of EVs, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac, they'll be all EV by, 2030? Sorry, 2035? I forget.
But imagine if they made an enthusiast department.
No, they should.
Under like the Corvette brand or something.
Oh, no, they should.
And they just made a handful of manual cars there. You could still hit the fleet average.
Again, new Corvette should be a stick shift also. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
But one of my friends got a Cadillac CTS for V Blackwing.
Okay.
With a stick shift, twin turbo V6, big brakes. You took it to the track with me, and I got to drive it off the track a little bit. That's one of the best things GM's made in 20 years.
Yeah.
It felt amazing.
So it feels just like the ZL1 1LE.
Yeah.
It feels just like that, except in a more luxurious package.
Oh, it feels.
But the shifting to me felt exactly the same. Like it's a really solid effort.
And great exhaust, no.
Oh, yeah.
Like
barky.
I see that. And I'm like, I'm not sure. And Cadillac has that whole package. So the Blackwing, like, if you go to the track, it'll send that telemetry back to headquarters, and they have like a driver instructor send you data and tips back.
Right. It's beautiful.
Who's doing the marketing at GM? Like, it's a cool secret not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
And it is cool to see Cadillac do something that, like, I have friends who, like, I forget his name. So one of my buddies, he's friends with someone who owns a BMW dealership.
Okay.
And he drove both cars, and he said the Cadillac CT4 V Blackwing was a BMW killer.
Yeah,
like, he liked it that much more.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Like, that's
and again,
incredible.
I'm a BMW fanboy.
Yeah. Like,
it's really good.
Yeah, that's the best thing Cadillac's done in years.
Yeah.
Like, you got the V, which is awesome, but the V Blackwing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this again, daydreaming, looking at cars. The CT5 Blackwing in green. With a stick shift
your
V8.
green cars.
I never thought I'd want one until I saw one face to face. Then I just kind of knew I had to have it.
There you go.
And now I'm kind of thinking it'd be kind of cool to have another one of these days, like a dedicated track toy. Because I love my car, but it is a little disappointing when I'm going a straight line on the track and the instructor goes, topping, floor it. I'm like, I am. It's all
giving
there.
her all she's got, Captain.
Yeah, it's all 205 horsepower. Well, maybe 206. I added a sticker on the side.
Oh,
so.
there you go. You do have a 1 horsepower sticker.
That's true. That's
how that works.
That's what I told.
Not bad.
But yes, it's about some fun colors that get me that just look right.
That's what I love about enthusiasm, and the whole reason I have everything that I do. It's all story building, like I keep coming back to. You know, enthusiasm is like the live version of a story. It's your participation in your story. It's you writing the chapters you give a shit about. You know, it's having a good time and engaging with whatever you have passion for, and that is magnificent. So SupercarsinDallas, for example, is only built to cater to that enthusiasm.
And what is it?
It's just an exotic car club. Basically, we're a bunch of guys and girls who play with our cars. That's it. We're car people who love them in and out. We meet up, do casual things, just hang out and you know, explore that enthusiasm. We used to do rallies, dinners.
Think you get back into rallies again?
I don't know, man. We had a bad experience. I hosted a guy that came up from a different market, I'll say. That way we're not, you know, attacking anyone. Okay. But basically, he brought something like 30 cars up to Dallas, and I was in control of the Dallas leg. Okay. I'm a very structured guy when it comes to this because we are driving missiles that can kill people effectively. Sure. You've got to be extremely careful. You got to be very safe. You know, observe laws where you can. Yeah. When you're not going to do that, make sure it's a safe environment, which means no other traffic. It means clear communication and lines of sight.
Straightaways, it means eyesight left and right.
Radios, like everyone's on board, briefing before you do it, go off, tell them exactly what they're going to expect.
Rural areas.
And if you can, actually get the police to come with you. When we did our East Texas run, we had basically a supervisor with us. That's pretty cool. And he was clearing traffic for us and allowing us distance to have some fun. And there's a video out there I'll show you afterwards. But the number on the speedometer is trying to keep up with the police officer. Yeah. And it is well beyond double what was on the sign.
I like it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And we were in a 911 Turbo S for that in 997.
Nice.
Oh, it was so nice. Very
Heck
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically you've got to be extraordinarily careful on this stuff. This group of people were entitled. They don't believe in rules. They think they're special and can do whatever the hell they want. Yeah. Well, not on SupercarsinDallas. We're extraordinarily controlled. The only guys that are good nowadays that are truly setting the standard, in my opinion, is a group run by a guy named Kobe. It's called Octane Rally, and I think they are fantastic at the way they approach rallies. They've got a new one coming up in July, actually. Oh, really? They are just fantastic. He keeps the price down. I always wanted to keep the price down, so mine were never. The most expensive one I had was like $850, and it was a full weekend with all lodging and meals included, like everything.
Oh, nice.
And I worked really hard using my operator capabilities to actually get super cheap everything. Yeah. And so, you know, I would fight for them to get value out of that dollar so they can spend their time exploring enthusiasm. Yeah. That's the whole point of the company. We're not here to rip people off. We're not monetizing the community like everybody else. We're just here to have an excellent time as best we can with our enthusiasm. And that's what Kobe's doing with Octane Rally. Nice. So great work, Kobe. Appreciate what you're doing. So sign up for Octane if you can. Absolutely. But basically, and I think he's just Octane Rally. It's the word octane with an H in front. Octanerally.com or something like that. But look him up, check him out. He's fantastic. He does what we used to. Basically, these guys decided not to follow any of the rules. There was one dude in a Lamborghini Murcielago Roadster, and he didn't secure his top properly. And it's just a crappy cloth top that they threw on as an after piece at Lamborghini. And honestly, their cars are kind of crudely made anyway at this era. Yeah. It was, I think, an original Murcielago, so like an 03, 02, 03. And so it's not, it's a tractor effectively with a V12 and a stick that you shove through some gears. Yeah. And so he's running through it and everything, and the roof flies off. And he's just whatever, just left it there. I'll just buy another one.
What?
Some entitled kid. And, you know, I wouldn't even allow that type of person on one of my rallies. Yeah. But my first mistake was not vetting the people that were coming up here. We did have a UFC fighter, a professional, actually the heavyweight champion at the time. He was on there. And so, you know, he's got insurance policies on him. He's an active athlete that holds the belt. The guy was important. Yeah. And, you know, these morons are just driving like idiots all around him. That's unacceptable. You know, we've got a lot of companies relying on us not screwing up and not hurting people. Yeah. And they're trying to drag race on one-lane roads. They would, while we're in convoy, you know, and we're radioing, basically giving instructions, they're just ignoring them. And I imagine they even turned off the radios because I yelled at quite a few of them. But this I-8, who just somehow got on the rally in a freaking hybrid car that is not designed to be like a supercar. No. I'm sorry, the i8's not a supercar. I love the i8.
It looks cool.
It looks fantastic. It drives really well. I would love to live with one as a daily. It's a great car. Yeah. It's a great car, and I love the technology. And you don't even need a plug-in. This is not known by everybody, but you don't even need a plug-in for it. If you have it, you just leave it in Sport Plus all the time, and you'll always have between like 2 and 8 MPE, or what do they call it, MPE, the electric? Yeah. Yeah, whatever it is. It never loses charge because it has a recursive system in it as long as you're in Sport Plus.
Pretty cool.
So always drive it in Sport Plus, which you should anyway.
Of course.
Come on.
It's more fun.
Yeah, but that car was really, really cool if you do it that way. So you can have one without a charger on your wall and stuff, and nobody seems to know that. And they're cheap. They were, 100,000+. Now they're like 50 grand for everybody. And you can find great examples everywhere for 50 grand. Just when you rally them, be careful. The coolant reservoir will get breached. Every single time I've run one hard, we put a rock through it basically or something, and it's been broken. So be really careful with that.
Really?
Yep. You want to get some type of protection for it.
Yeah.
Or just, keep a couple $1,000 sitting aside because you know you're going to break it.
Jeez.
It's a common thing with BMWs on this conversation.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a BMW account at your bank.
But great driving experiences. Oh, yeah. Anyway, this I-8 decided to jump out as we're cresting a hill on a 1-to-1 road. Idiot. And basically, I don't even know the guy's name, but if I see him, he's going to hear some stuff. But basically, this Mazda had come out, and it was an older lady. I saw her when she was coming out, and I radioed back, everybody stay tight, stay tight. We've got someone entering the road, stay tight, do not pass, that kind of thing. And you say everything 3 times on a radio, so hopefully they'll hear it.
Yeah.
This guy didn't hear shit, so he decides to go ahead and go over at the crest of the hill right as she's coming up.
Jesus.
She had to drive off into a ditch, basically.
What?
We could have killed that woman.
Yeah.
Because of this dumbass's lack of respect for what we were trying to do here.
Jesus.
That's not enthusiasm. That's not what I'm into.
Yeah.
And because of that, that was the end of it for me. I'm not doing rallies anymore.
Oh,
because, that's insane.
Yeah.
You've got to control your process. And these guys were all like, they thought they were hot shots because they had some celebrities with them and such. There was like a rapper and a couple other people there.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. I mean, nobody is special enough that they can kill people because if they want to have fun.
That's
Get
ridiculous.
the hell out of here. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
We're professional adults. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I had them sign their little waivers and all that stuff, but that doesn't protect you when you've killed somebody. Who gives a shit about the legalities whenever someone's lost their mom, for example? Of
course.
You've got to be responsible.
Yeah.
And so because I can't trust the drivers to come on the rally and be responsible, I'm out of that game.
Yeah.
But we will still have awesome times. We'll have dinners, we'll have movie premieres before a film's out for like John Wick, Mission Impossible, the cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Fast and Furious, those kind of things. I'm probably going to do Deadpool Wolverine.
That'd be a good one.
That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I may grab the rights to that real quick and then just
That'd
do
be cool.
a thing. But we'll do like dinners and reveals. Like my buddy has an Aston Martin Valkyrie coming out pretty soon. We're going to do a private reveal of that.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be very special because nobody's going to get to see that.
No.
Occasionally we might do a track day, but that's very rare. Usually I don't want them running their own cars. So we'll do like a demo thing. There's a company out at MSR Crescent, Motorsport Ranch, Jack Farr's company. You can go out there and do Drive Exotic, and you can drive, he's got a library of cars you can select from.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. And there's one called Speed Club Monday that will teach you how to actually track. Like they'll show you all of it, safety classes, take you out there in a demo car, show you everything, and then you get to run your car or their car.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I love what they're doing there.
It's a pretty good track.
Yeah, great track.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I love that.
I'm a little biased. I went to Eagle first. So that's kind of my favorite.
I've never been to ECR.
Really?
Yeah.
They've upped their game there.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard great things, and I know a lot of the instructors, and they're magnificent people. They know how to drive. Like, they're really good. I would trust them.
They just had a new skid pad built, too.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I've done MSR. Lou has a place now up in, I want to say it's Salina, G2 Motorsports Park, and that one looks fantastic.
I've heard that one,
It's been like 10 years in the making. Beautiful thing, like F1 level. No
Really?
F1 race. But
It's in Salina?
Mhm.
Really? It's not too far.
Somewhere up there, yeah. Basically, it's close to where Dallas Karting Complex is, so not too far from that. Yeah. But basically, like Porsche, for example, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say it, but they have come to an agreement to use that track for a thing.
That's pretty cool.
So I'll keep it generic. And they're doing it for 30 days and renting the track for a large amount of money every day.
Wow.
On that, from what I'm hearing. So, I mean, it's good enough that the companies are really paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And they've done some demo runs out there that have been just beautifully received. So we've got some good tracks coming here with MSR G2 and ECR.
Yeah.
And then we used to, on some of our rallies, we would actually drive the oval over at Texas Motor Speedway.
Oh, really?
So that was kind of cool. You could put your car up there and, we'd do 145 in a bend the entire time. It was pretty cool.
That'd be pretty neat.
So yeah, we've had some fun. We've done some cool things.
I could not do that with my car.
You could actually. it would
won't.
have to. What do you top? 128, something like that.
It's downhill, I think 136.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So above like 115, you should be able to hold.
Oh, okay.
Because the banking, steepens as it goes. So there's a sweet spot somewhere in there where you can
okay.
And then just steer the other way if it's a problem.
That's true.
Yeah. For real. Because, like, we're in the bend. I was in my M6 doing like 140. And I'm having to steer sideways while going left. I'm steering right.
Really?
Yeah, it's
That's
really
bizarre.
cool. It messes with your head a little bit. It was cool.
Really?
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in business to actually meet all these people. And the network connections are insane.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Most of the guys that are passionate about their cars are passionate about their work.
Oh, yeah.
And they either own their business, they operate their business, or they're a top salesperson in their business.
Oh, yeah.
So for like learning from people, I've learned volumes of information on all kinds of industries through that. So I love the car community because it's given me so much. My entire point with SupercarsinDallas is to extend the car community to as many people as possible through genuine high-end auto enthusiasm.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I love it. It's fantastic. If I could make my living off of that, because I don't charge people, obviously I'm not going to make any money off of it. But if I ever did decide to monetize it, turn it into something like that, I would spend my life doing that.
Yeah.
I love it.
To
that end, I'm actually launching a brokerage for collector pieces.
Oh, really?
So we'll have like collector cars, art, and memorabilia.
That'd be pretty cool.
That thing's coming out pretty soon. We're inking our final deals on that, and then maybe that could actually be revenue.
Yeah.
That does, supplant the rest of it. But if I did that, then basically it would be facilitating the community through that. Yeah. My ultimate goal is to extend what my greatest passion is, which, storytelling, music, and car enthusiasm, all the same thing to me. It's all just, engaging in that passion and really getting excited about it and sharing it with each other. So if I can do all that, then I've made it.
Absolutely.
So that's the whole plan.
And tell me about your other company with the fashion, architecture,
design.
So
I have one called CoutureDallas. It's a fashion art and design broker. So we try to find street level artists or guys that are still in school, ladies that, they've got some type of... I don't really get into activism and messaging very much, but I want people who are trying to do more than just produce something.
Yeah, they're passionate about something.
Yeah, they have to, again, then set story building. If I can connect to the story that they're trying to tell, I want to provide a platform for them. Yeah. And so CoutureDallas is designed to basically take people, street level artists or school level artists who have not found their audience yet, and I take them to gallery level clientele. We'll host some type of like experiential event at some gallery. We'll have live paint sessions for artists. We'll have fashion runway shows. We'll do jewelry sales. We'll do whatever. It's pretty cool. To try and bring fashion art and design under one roof. Yeah. To share the enthusiasm across all three and maybe get that client base in front of this new artist. So they get a new platform to actually produce and grow. Yeah. And then the world gets a little bit better art.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
It gets something that has a story behind it. Yeah. Things that people can give a shit about is really what it comes down to. I want people to be engaged in their life. I want them to be passionate. I want them to be excited because what's the point of anything if you're not doing that? Sure. And so if I can help in any way provide that and be part of someone's story, my life was worth it. Yeah. So, I just want to be as effective as possible in building people's stories, whether it's in the things that I care about, fashion, art, design, music, and cars.
That's awesome. So, of all the pieces you've seen through that, do you have a favorite artist in mind, or was there a particular piece that really moved you?
I can't pick one because then they'll get mad at me. Yeah. But basically, it's just when the elements are all drawn together and everyone starts collaborating, that's when it gets exciting. Yeah. So we did one event called Solara that was built on just the concept of the sun, and so all the fashion was designed around like the sun. So it was using the colors of it, so the bright oranges, the yellows, the reds, and even if you really look at the sun. I have a minor in stellar astronomy, so I'm all about space. Oh, cool. So basically, if you really look at the sun, the granules in it actually have a lot of black in it as well. Really? And so it's kind of a ball of fire that's constantly rolling over itself. And these physical granules are going up and under and having this convection process all the time. And that's where the heat comes from. It's nuclear explosions, basically, contained by the mass of it. That's what creates a star. The resistance between the explosive outward force and the gravitational inward force. There's an equilibrium there that as the elements burn up, eventually the star expands and we all die. That part sucks. But before that happens, 5 billion years from now, before all that happens, you basically have this constant nuclear explosion that's always happening at like heptaseconds, new nuclear explosions, and the gravity of it's all keeping it there. And when those are happening, you get different colors, you get different elements, shapes, all kinds of cool stuff. So in the art, we would have like solar flare shapes represented through different colors, through all kinds of different things. with the jewelry, it was a lot of like tiger eye and like, you know, rubies and garnets and things like that. And so we were able to bring all the elements of the representation of the sun into these different fashion art and design pieces. It's pretty cool. We had some furniture that had like different red woods that were like put into the sides. And so it would, well, a lot like this table actually.
Yeah.
Magnificent table.
I appreciate it.
Do love it. It's got, y'all can't see, but it's got coins in it and stuff. Very, very cool.
Old American silver coins.
That's extremely cool. But anyway, it was just exciting to be able to bring that one thread of the story of what the sun looks like through all these different facets of expression, and then put that under one roof. So I like that kind of thing. Obviously I get animated and excited about it, but yeah.
And pretty unique too, because I know a lot of art galleries will charge the artists up front, so that can be, prohibitive for a lot of folks as well.
So we don't charge any of the artists that we select to work with until we've actually, at the night of the event, if they move anything, our entire fee structures, we take 20% of the night.
That's awesome.
So
there's no burden to get in, really.
Free. Yeah, there's zero barrier to entry, except you have to be telling a story.
Of course.
And it's got to be something that we can tie into the actual environment of the event. Even like the cocktail menu.
Yeah.
You know, when we're doing something like that, you'll have like star anise will be in it. And so you'll get that flavoring into it that actually has the word star in its ingredient. Or you'll have like rambutan, the little fruit that's red that looks like an actual sun. You know, in certain lighting, it actually could, you know, we could make it one.
That's cool.
So yeah, you'd have things like that built into it. So like the hors d'oeuvres and such, because we always have fast food and everything as well.
That's awesome.
You'll use like red beets or something like that, and like a cream fraiche or something on top to show like the coronal ejection or whatever. So
that's
those kind of things. It's really cool. And then the music all has atmospheric sounds for our DJ. So we put like, you know, a trance EDM style kind of chill step background, but it'll also have like space sounds and like weird, you know, just a little type noises that'll come in and stuff. So it's just cool. You can really jump in and do some exciting tie-ins that, you know, tell a bigger story than the pieces. So, yeah.
That's pretty neat.
I do get excited about that one.
Yeah.
Been a long time since I talked about that one.
Right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, what's it like working out all logistics? Do you like to switch up the venues? And how do you organize it? What's the process like?
It always moves around. It's just a lot of one-to-one conversations, and we make it fit. So we'll go to any venue that's kind of fitting for whatever the theme is. There's one really great studio we haven't used yet. God, what do they call that one? It's over in the Design District off Dragon Street.
Yeah.
Amanda George runs it, and I wish I could remember the name of it. I'm so sorry, Amanda. But basically, she has one entire side of it is exactly black, like everything about it's black. One side is everything about it's exactly white.
Pretty cool.
And so you can actually play between like the yin-yang concept. You could play between shadows and light. You could play between all kinds of different things for, you know, even like a harlequin or something like that, or a chessboard or checkers or something fun. You could really jump in there and like, if we did do a chess one, then we could do like, you know, the fashion could be somehow incorporate chess pieces or the pattern of the board. We could do jewelry that does the same. The live painting could be on chessboards, for example.
Yeah.
We could do shortbread cookies that are like chessmen or something like that. You know what I mean? We could do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's really exciting about how can we tell the biggest story possible on this one thematic element across every type of, you know, experience that your senses are gonna take, and that includes a venue. So we'll go through when we're selecting venues or musicians or whoever we're gonna bring in. We just basically get them to buy in the story and then add their little flair to it.
That's pretty cool.
So that's kind of the selection process.
I like it.
Logistics are just a lot of conversations like this one.
Right?
Yeah.
Then what do you like to do outside the office?
Well, like I said, I'm a car guy that. I am a musician. I used to be a singer and I play guitar.
Oh, very cool.
I was also a DJ for a little bit, so I compose my own things.
That's awesome.
So I like to fool around with that. I like to read and write. And then...
what kind of books do you like to read?
Mostly self-help stuff, stories, again, but from people that I look up to or brands I look up to or, you know, moments in history that are significant. I read a lot of philosophy books from both Western and Eastern approaches. So like the Book of the Five Rings is really cool. Samurai Bushido Code kind of thing. I was a martial arts instructor for a little while.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
So I did, I started when I was 5 with Taekwondo. Didn't like that so much. So at 7, we switched to Shirinju Karate. And eventually our karate school was bought by Premier Martial Arts. So they incorporated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Krav Maga, all kinds of stuff like that. And I started teaching at that level. Cool. And basically I became a Krav instructor at that point. And then I specialized in self-defense through Krav and then weapons. I really love weapons and I love swords in particular.
Oh, cool.
especially historical European martial arts. And so there was a group called Scala St. George, and they actually had these 15th century manuscripts from a guy named Fiore, who was a sword master. And so we studied his manuscripts and basically learned Italian and German sword styles through that. So we did sword and buckler, we did German broadsword, we did rapier fencing. I was with an Olympic fencing team for a little bit, and I didn't compete, but I had them train me for about 2 years.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun. And then while I was doing the Japanese arts, we did some things in kendo and such with a katana. It's a very unique style. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting. And I love it's a story for me. So it's the blade, you know, and the different expressions of the blade.
Yeah.
And how can we, you know, really explore what they were thinking when they created that set of moves or the approach. It's a very brutal thing.
Yeah.
You know, everyone thinks the sword is elegant. It's not. It's about smashing and stabbing and killing and horrible stuff. Broadswords are purposely blunted, for example, to break ribs because you're wearing plate armor. And so you need a weapon that can push a guy off a horse, and then it's got a point. So while he's on the ground.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's not the fighting style you see in the movies or anything, which is how I got into it, you know, from Star Wars to Princess Bride, the greatest movie ever made.
Oh,
and
I was going to say Star Wars once told me it was a weapon from a more sophisticated era.
Yes, an elegant weapon.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is, and it can be. But like fencing, the entire thing is built to point between the chainmail links and the little plate armor's weaknesses. So that's why you have such a thin blade with a point, so that, and it's all wrist motion at that point, is to get into, you know, those little holes as you switched from broadsword styles into a new, smaller sword.
Really?
And it was the Italians and the Spaniards that largely promoted that, and then the French picked it up and put it in the, you know, broad stream of things.
Yeah.
But the Germanic knights in particular were all about heavy armor, heavy horses, heavy blades. So German broadsword became, you know, for, I don't know, 200-300 years, that was the main fighting force, or fighting style in Europe. You wanted heavy-ass plate, and you wanted a heavy-ass sword that could knock people down.
Yeah.
And then once they're on the ground, they're weighing 200 pounds extra on top of their normal body weight.
Jeez.
They're not going to get up very quickly, and they have these exposure points, and you have a pointy thing. So you're going to put the point in the exposure point, and they're not going to move anymore.
Could they realistically fight when they're on the ground in all that armor? Because the cliche is the weight is equally distributed, but is that really true or
Not really. I mean,
That's
this
what I
is
was-
people making suits.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking.
I mean, you know, as best they could, I suppose. But, you know,
But not-
I've never worn plate. We did a lot of training stuff, but wearing just leather pad.
Yeah.
So I never did actual plate or anything. However, there is a school in Irving called the Warlord Academy.
Really?
And it is magnificent. They host fight nights occasionally. They are currently ranked, I believe, as the #1 in men's and female swordplay in the world. And they just went down to Mexico for a competition like a month ago, and I think they won gold there. And they do actual full-on plate mail, full-on axes and swords in a cage. It's like UFC meets like medieval times. It's magnificent, but it's real fighting.
What's the barrier to entry? Like, what would a suit cost me?
Suits are going to be expensive. The stupidly expensive stuff is like $6,000 to $10,000. The cheap stuff is like $1,500.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you have to really care about it.
It's a car.
I mean, nobody makes these things anymore. You know what I mean?
you're not
where are
gonna.
you going to go? Hey, I need a full plate.
I mean, I'm told everything's on eBay or Amazon. Surely. they
Hey,
don't.
I'm sure you can find it, but is it battle ready?
Or, yeah, or should you get that armor off Wish.com? Probably not.
Probably not. You don't want to take a sword. You know, these swords can weigh, most of them are probably 6 to 10 pounds, but some of these heavy swords can weigh up to 40, 50 pounds.
Oh
The
my
Scottish
God.
Claymore, I think the heaviest Scottish Claymore was like 60 pounds or something like that.
Really?
And now that's a huge sword that was designed for like chopping horses down and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's not a practical combat weapon
True.
against a person necessarily.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm Scottish. There are ways to do it.
There you go.
But yeah, no, it's very exciting, the swordplay and stuff. So I'll dabble in that. I go to the gym a lot.
There you
I'm
go.
doing this thing that's a year of excellence. I basically woke up on February 16th of this year, hungover, angry. I'd gotten in a fight the night before with a guy that I respect, and I was stupid and embarrassed and guilty and all that afterwards. And because I had insulted him a couple times and I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And so basically I looked myself in the mirror and was like, what the hell are you doing, man? You're 35 years old. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
So I dedicated to a year of excellence. I was going to hit the gym every day, diet properly, sleep
Nice.
properly, hydrate properly, read a book basically every week kind of thing. Just jump in and just hardcore get better so I can truly look at myself and say that I'm excellent.
I like it.
Because I have the stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm not excellent. You know, I've got a long way to go before I can truly feel that I've made excellence. So a year of dedication to that, 83 days in, I lost 36 pounds, which was the goal for losing the weight.
Really?
I wanted to get back down to 192, and I was 228 when I started. Hit 192, 83 days in.
Nice.
Like 195 now. Now it's more of a building thing, less than a weight loss. I'm trying to do more physique stuff.
There you go.
I've got awesome people at my roofing company that are all basically bodybuilders.
Oh,
they're
nice.
super fit, and they're great for advice. They're great for you're just like, man, I got this one problem with my training. They're like, lift it like this.
There you go.
Oh, okay. And you do that, and your injury goes away. Like, it's insane.
Nice.
One of the guys at the company is named Tony Tavares. He is a mountain of a man.
Really?
He's getting famous and stuff. He was on like HGTV. He's an Olympian competitor, like Mr. Olympia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I think he's like 8 weeks out from victory when he competes soon. But the dude is massive. His biceps are like as big as my head.
Jeez.
And he's our sales VP for Stronghouse that owns all of our brands. And he started at Linear with the rest of us. And so basically he's got this culture that he sets with his obscene energy that's just through the roof. The guy's amazing. And so basically he walks into a room and the room wakes up.
Yeah.
He brings that energy to when I'm in the gym lifting. I'm thinking about Tony's going to see me, and if I'm not bigger, the goat is still charging me up. So it's those kind of things. Anytime you're starting to struggle with it, because it is tough to go from fast food and drinking a bottle every night and all that fun stuff to going cold sober. And like I said, I was in the CBD industry. I stopped that as well. I was big on the Delta 8 gummies. And those do get you high, and they are a lot of fun and very relaxing and stress relieving, but I got rid of that too, just because excellence doesn't have time for anything that modifies. So I lost a lot of weight. Now I'm in a building phase. It's phase 2 of the program. I'm 115 days in now or something like that.
Nice.
And it's basically, I've added like half an inch to the biceps.
There you go.
Chest has gone up 1. My pant size has gone down 2. So, I mean, I'm shaping correctly.
What part of the workout has helped you lose the most amount of weight? Was there a particular one that you really enjoy?
Probably.
Is it a lot of cardio or
I
more
wouldn't
lifting?
say enjoy. I'm kidding. No, it was. It's a relentlessness on cardio that really cut the weight. That plus diet. Abs are made in the kitchen. They're 100% right about that.
True.
I always thought it was BS when people said that. I was like, whatever. If you burn enough calories, you'll lose weight. And while that's true, if you don't put in crap, you can burn more calories.
Sure.
So eat clean, a lot of fish, a lot of chicken, watch your fats, protein up. Doesn't matter as much on carbs as everybody, harps on the fad diets. What it matters is listen to your body. So like if you eat something and the next day you're way up, don't eat that again.
Yeah.
If you feel like crap, don't eat that again. If you didn't sleep well, don't eat that. It's really simple. Listen, pay attention.
Trial and error.
And if you're hydrating enough, then you'll actually be washing out anything that's like a outlier. And so your body will truly tell you everything you need to hear as far as what you need to change or not change. So it's been pretty good. Lots of cardio, basically do just 12 to 15 minutes of cardio on an elliptical every day.
Nice.
That's enough to do about 1.25 miles, nice. If you're at a good pace. And that's how I start most workouts. I always do it fasted. So it's burning off of me, not off of breakfast.
There you go.
I get up at 5, hit the gym.
Nice.
Come back in, shower, have breakfast, whatever, go to work. Do that every single day, basically. There's no days off unless I've injured something, which I've done recently a couple times. Hurt the chest and hurt the back at one point. Trying some stupid things, and I didn't grip correctly. Form is important, especially when you've lost a third of your body, and then you decide to lift like you haven't. That's pretty stupid. So I would recommend high reps, very low weight until you're extremely comfortable with it. It feels like you're not working to begin with, but that's BS. You are working. You're always working if you're moving. So, just do it until you get a pattern down, get used to the pattern, and then increase. But high reps, middle weight, lots of cardio, eating right. That's the big secret if you're losing weight. If you're building, you do less reps, higher weight, and more protein, basically. You can look up your resting metabolic rate, and then basically just always consume under that or burn above that. So that way you know that your net is always negative, and that's how you lose weight. I was losing 0.2 per day.
Oh, wow, really?
There was 1 week I lost like 7 pounds. It was crazy, but I was I was really hitting it. I'd do like 20-minute cardio sessions on those days. And I did it 5 days in a row. And then I was really light on the calories. It was almost it was too much probably. And I did lose some muscle mass while doing it because of it. I could tell that I was clearly shrinking. But I was 500 to 800 calories under my resting metabolic rate all 5 of those days because I was doing so much cardio.
Oh, wow.
Quest Nutrition was my hero for the whole thing.
They make good stuff.
Make great stuff. I highly recommend the bars and the chips. The spicy sweet chili chips.
I've been
They're so good,
I've
the
been like the
purple ones.
taco ones, the taco
Taco
flavor
ones are good.
chips.
Yeah,
Those are pretty good.
So the other purple ones,
Yeah.
the lighter purple, are the ones that are nuts to me. They're so good.
I need to try those out. I haven't tried
Yeah.
it. I like the banana cream whey is the closest I've had in terms of like the whey protein tasting like the actual thing is supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Because usually it's
I like on the protein. I like Dimetize. They make a fruity pebbles and a cocoa pebbles, and
Really?
it's 120 calories for a scoop.
Not
You
bad.
get 25 grams of protein.
Nice.
Throw in some lactated fat-free milk. It's 90 calories per cup. 2 cups of that. Stir it up. You're good. And it's actually they're partnered with Post.
Oh,
So
really?
it actually is Cocoa Pebbles and Fruity Pebbles.
Oh.
It's the same flavorings they put into it, which don't have calories or
That's
not
cool.
registerable
Yeah.
calories. And then occasionally you'll get a little flake that they actually did put in there just to
Really?
make you not hate life.
I like that.
So yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I think they're local, Dimetize.
Really? That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
I know their marketing was done locally by my buddy.
I know ProSups is headquartered in Carrollton. Because I did a drop off there a couple years ago for IT,
Nice.
trying to knock on their door.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's good stuff, man.
You've come a long way, man.
Yeah, it's been a fun year. A lot of
Yeah.
growth, a lot of learning, a lot of good stuff. And the last 5 years have been really interesting.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. Dan. We're going to have you on and watch that progress. Keep going.
Yeah, we'll see if I can actually be fit.
There we go. Hey, thanks again for coming on the show. Appreciate
you,
Josh.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Don't forget, Topping Talks is also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all major platforms. Also, don't forget to take the time to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and have a great day. Topping Talks.